Gotta go on the Twitter and Twitch.
Hi, everybody.
My Twitter.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to ZealZaddy. I'm Scott Coventry. I'm the DM and storyteller here. This is Season 1, Episode 4 of Mysts of Elixia. The title of this episode is A Butterfly Walks on the Calmly Lilting Waves, Its Wings, Death. We play every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And occasionally I will do things on Wednesday night where I'm doing world building or map making, things like that. Let me bring my seat up a little bit. I feel I'm a little shorter than I should be there. Not that I'm tall. Before we get started, though, I do want to remind everybody of where they can follow us. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, all at /ZealZaddy. And on Discord, if you look down below in the About section, you'll see there's a button that'll take you to the Discord and act as an invite, so you can go and join us and chat there. Sometimes we'll go and chat after the game, and we definitely chat sometimes during the week. A couple of our players, sadly one of them is not here right now, but maybe here later in the evening, are publishers on DM's Guild, and one of them, the one who's not here, his book just went silver this week, which was awesome for everybody. We were all cheering him on, happy that it did it. His book is Tome of Arcane Philosophy. You should go check it out, maybe make a purchase. Now we need to push him to Electrum. That's the next big step. And Morgan is the publisher of Children of Tiamat and some other things. I'll let him tell you about them in a moment. Actually, let me bring them up so you guys can be introduced. All right. Why don't we start with Brandon today?
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'll be playing Morcant, and I'm happy to be here today. Let's roll some dice.
And what is Morcant?
Morcant is a half-elf cleric of Akor, and he's got his lovely armor on, and he's ready for the figuring out what went on and what's going on and all that good stuff.
All right, let's go over to Eslov, who also, by the way, is a publisher of something, but he hasn't told me what yet.
Yes, I keep mentioning it in the stream that I am a publisher. I just keep forgetting to tell you. It's called Ranger Dragon Hunter Conclave. You can find it on DM's Guild. There are two things named Ranger Dragon Hunter Conclave on DM's Guild. One of them is mine, and that's the tan-colored one. It sounds like a specialized subclass. Not. I promise you, it is very generalized. You can use it for on things that aren't dragons. Anyway, I am Dylan. You can follow me on Twitter at, well, it was up earlier. If you missed it, then oh well.
It's right below you, right in front of you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Eslov is a dragonborn barbarian from the far north, the Blue Wastes, who has been mysteriously banished from his family and has found perhaps some new purpose in Elixia.
Perhaps. All right, Morgan, you're up.
What's up, everybody? I am Morgan. I'm with Mind Played Mondays. We are professional DMs here in South Florida. Originally, we did local games, but now we do it online. So if you're interested, check us out. You can find it at mindplayedmondays.com. You can also find us on Twitter at mindplayedmon. As he was saying, I have written some stuff for the DM's Guild, Children of Tiamat. It's a two-headed subrace of Dragonborn, which is a lot of fun. A lot of people have told me they love it. Also have a subclass for rogues called the Wandslinger. Very cool if you're playing something like Eberron. And then we also have several different gunslinger subclasses for things outside of fighter. And there's some pretty cool ones in there as well. Please go give them a check out. I am working on some other things, but 7 kids, busy life. It's kind of hard to just get it pounded out right away. We also sell shirts on Amazon. So right now you can get one of these ones. Give me a drink that requires a con save. So, and tonight on this game I will be playing Veteran Mazurek. He is a noble from House Magic, and he is skilled in the arcane arts. So, I'm ready to begin.
There are 2 players who are not here tonight. One of them will arrive later in the evening, but they will both be here next week. And then the following week is Halloween. We will not be playing Halloween evening. That would be cruel and inhuman to take people away from the greatest holiday that we have in this country. Even if you're not a witch.
Damn straight.
All right.
We're cool here.
Who would like to do a synopsis of what happened last week? Any volunteers?
I can never remember what happened.
Who here has not gone yet?
I think I went the first time.
I went the second. I believe Aryan went the third, so I think that leaves it to Mr. Brandon.
Does.
All right.
Process of elimination.
So
we found our culprit.
as best my memory serves, we all woke up after a long night of killing a weird creature. Upon going to see its body, it was already taken care of and was gone forever. Parts of it were given to the bird guy. So we went, hung out with the bird guy for a while. And meanwhile, we also got a letter talking about a person who had come back from ascending, but was found dead with someone over them. So collectively, we decided, hey, we should probably go to that place. So we all took off. We ran into one group of people that was specifically looking for Vazarin, but we were able to sneak past them as he took a nap. And then we ran into a second group of people that were looking for Kian, and some of them died in the most crucial way. Some of them lived, and our legend just begins. And then we walk on to see a giant gate, and that's where we left off.
All right.
The ones that died.
There was one guy, and then he was 2, but he was dead.
I think it was a lady, actually.
Oh. I don't remember that detail.
Even
I
better.
blocked it out.
What?
You are a
It was
terrible
gruesome.
man, Eslo.
He didn't mean to. If you recall, he almost
Oops, my axe fell on you.
he almost
My
threw
bad.
up after. He almost threw up after.
My bad. Apologies, good sir.
The best line, though, was definitely Aryan saying, "We're all so badass, except for Morkant. All he does is talk." Or he spent his turn talking. That was the best line for sure last week.
The cleric speaking. Come on, guys. Let's just all get along here. Come
As
on. You don't
clerics
have to do
sometimes
this.
do. So you continued on the road and have arrived at the outside the walls of Raisa. It's hard to say. And it is a smaller city than Phelan. Not a small town, but definitely a smaller city. And as you arrive at it, you see the wall that wraps it is about half the height of the one that is at Phelan. And like Phelan, this one is not wrapping the city; it blocks the land side of it. As Raisa is an isthmus; it just sort of juts out into Lake Carling. And as you arrive at it, you realize there's this huge standing stone, like the one, or naming stone, like the one in Phelan, but much taller, much wider, and it's tilted at an angle like that, and reaches out slowly over the lake at the end of the city. There's a gate out at the wall that has guards at it. And it's snowing and snowy.
How thick is the snow, or how deep it is? Is it by now?
1.5 foot maybe.
Wow.
It's been snowing for a day straight, and it's been not a trickle necessarily. It's been building up pretty well.
Is it packed yet, or is it still like?
No, it's soft.
We should probably head inside, gentlemen. Morkant, you should have that letter, yes, from that allows us to, perhaps show them that we're here to deal with a certain situation or investigate it for the church.
Yes, let's head over to the Soul. We'll have to find the way. We should probably ask for direction.
Is it late?
No, not at this point. It's still in the middle of the day.
Okay, yes, that would seem fine to me.
What is this place called?
Who are you
Which
asking
place?
that?
The city?
I'm just asking the party.
What was the name of the town again?
Raisa.
I don't remember, but right. Well, this place is Raisa. It's obviously not as big as Phelan, but it holds its own, from what I've been told. They might even have some good drinks in there for you.
Well, hopefully they're better than the last place we were at.
I hope so as well.
And as you get closer to the walls, you see the guards, they stand to attention as you get close enough to warrant notice. And the guards wait for you as you get close enough to speak. The city requires a toll.
I'm here on behalf of the soul.
Where are you coming from?
Phelan?
Do you have papers?
Yes, we received this letter, and I'm coming on behalf of Apone to speak with the soul about what happened. And I'll hand over the letter to him.
Well, this doesn't grant entrance.
Didn't the
One
elder give
moment.
us a letter as well?
That was to get out of the city.
And one moment, and a couple of the guards stay, and he and another one go inside. And they come out. You can go in. The rest have to pay. It's 3 coppers.
Slav looks in his pouch and all he sees is gold.
I'll give them 1 silver for the group. That's more than enough.
Big spender.
Yep. All right, head on in. And they
Slav
lift
is
the
like
gate.
starting to take out a piece of gold, but then he sees you pay, then he puts it back.
And they point up to someone who then raises the gate. The portcullis comes up. And you can head on in.
Can you direct me to which way the soul is from here?
Head to the naming stone to your right.
All right, thank you very much.
And when you get in, the first thing that strikes you is that almost immediately you can't see the naming stone anyway, because there's buildings and stuff right up to the wall. And there's the road sort of turns off to the side and branches, and it seems a little more complicated and tighter than Phelan.
So the naming stone is like it's the same thing that was in the center of the courtyard at
Yeah.
the last place we were at, right? Okay. I think there's one of those in every town. Most of them.
And there are very few people out. When there are, if they see you, they kind of head the other way.
Do they seem like they're scared or timid or what?
Not scared so much as maybe not friendly, not as friendly.
Yeah. A bit grouchy.
Yeah.
Does it seem like this town is like less prosperous?
It definitely doesn't look as prosperous as Phelan. And it has, you can probably catch the odor of fish, which is not necessarily bad, except it's not necessarily fresh fish either.
Doesn't matter to Eslav.
Yep.
I don't think we'll be finding much better drinks here.
And Vestrin and Morkan, you both know that this town is a fishing town, but they fish on the lake. So.
You never know. There might be some good drinks here. I mean, when people live a little bit more squalid than what we're used to in Phelan or even Cairo, they tend to get their hands on stronger drinks. Perhaps we'll get lucky.
Hope you're right.
So do I. I need a good drink. Perhaps before we go to the Soul, we can stop by and have one. What kind?
If we ever have the time, I'll make you homemade mead the way we do it.
I would be delighted to try your homemade mead. As long as it's not made of animals or anything.
We use what we can. I'm kidding.
Okay, well then, I would be delighted to try your mead. I'll let you decide, Morkan. If we don't have time to stop and get a drink, then lead the way to the soul.
I think it's really best to get all the information we can, and then we can break for something to eat and drink after that.
Of course, business first, as a.
Yes, business first, then pleasure.
Yes, and perhaps now that we're in the city, I can find a place to take this off. Looking at
Why?
my...
You look so dashing.
I know, it's the nicest thing I own. I really don't want to get it too dirty. There's blood stains on it from the...
I was surprised that it was so clean until I saw how well you fought. Then I realized why it was so clean.
We're all so mean to him.
No, I kid. I think it is a wonderful talent to have the ability to try to communicate to those that are unwilling to reason.
Meanwhile, Eslav spent like the better part of that entire journey trying to get the blood out of his furs.
Yes.
I don't have that
from
problem.
the cleaving.
I kill things from a distance.
Cleaving. he hates being bloody.
You hear me? I don't have that problem. I kill things from a distance.
I know.
And
it also takes you longer to kill them.
And as you're walking, the street starts to widen a little bit, and you realize there's little alleys all along the way, and just inside the darkness of the alleys, even though it's day, it's dark because they're tight. It feels like people are looking at you as you're coming, but they're staying away.
Smile and wave, boys.
Is this something normal that I would expect from this town? I mean, I know I haven't been here personally, but I've heard stories. Are they generally this, from what I know, are they generally like this?
Actually, Morkan would probably know more. That generally this has been a town that's been fairly prosperous, just not at the level of Phelan. And there's really nowhere on the island that feels despondent like here. And this place didn't feel despondent in the past, apparently. But I mean, there was a traumatic moment for everybody that has maybe changed that.
You know, Morkan, I agree with you. Perhaps it is wise that we get to the soul first. Maybe we can understand why the people are so cautious, weary.
Traumatic moment.
A lot of people have lost a lot of people, so let us hurry over there and see what they know.
And you remember when you were in Phelan after the festival, people were not really happy then either. There was no joy anywhere. May not have been quite like this, but the city was more open. There was more light to it, so the city feels closed in here. And a little further away, as the road turns, the street widens out, and then in the distance down the street, you can see the standing stone at the very end, at the end of the city itself, and on a mound, like a rock mound is where it rises out of. And as you walk, the snow has been trampled by people in here a lot, and there's icicles hanging off the buildings. It's cold, and with the buildings the buildings feel like they're reaching over a little bit. Just it gets tight. Even when as it widens, the buildings seem to lean in or something. And then as you get over to where the standing stone is, the city just suddenly opens up and ends. There's building really tight, and then it just ends what would be probably two city blocks away from the standing stone, and then it's just clearing. There's some grass here, a little bit here and there, scrub grass, some lichen growing on the sides of the rock, and then the standing stone just juts out. And to the right of that, there's a bach, a round building, kind of like the one in Phelan, but this is a little bigger, a brach, not a bach, a brach. And that's what the souls usually look like. They're round buildings, a big fire in the middle that heats all the outside, and then there's housing or whatever for the clerics along the outside walls.
Interesting setup this place has. So,
Make me a perception check, the three of you.
21.
12.
18.
Eslav and Morkant notice that there's a symbol sort of carved into some of the wood on a couple of the buildings. And you just realize that it's the second time you've seen it. And that's why you noticed it, because the first time it didn't really mean anything. It was small, almost like graffiti. And it's sort of a swirl like this. Like a spring.
Have we seen
Although
it
there are no
before?
springs. You haven't seen it. It's just a symbol. You see weird stuff all over the place.
Wait, we said
Right,
You said
along
we
this
saw it.
walk.
On a
along
few of
this
the
walk.
buildings.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's on a couple of the buildings.
Gotcha.
It doesn't resemble any of the symbols we saw when we were in the basement.
Nope.
Okay.
And there are no people in this clearing up to the standing stone.
Does anybody point out the symbols to me?
As I was about to say, as I turned to Vazarin, hey, Vazarin, I've noticed this. Does that mean anything to you? Point to the symbol.
It doesn't.
It's an odd symbol. I will immediately pull out some paper and try to mimic the symbol as best as I can so that we have it for future reference.
It's easy. Three loops.
Well, I'll keep it and we'll have it in case we see it again.
Yes. Let's head over to the soul and find out what they know.
And as you cross, Morkant, as you're walking forward, you step in an area where the sound is suddenly gone, and then as you walk through, the sound returns.
There appears to be one of those sound holes there.
But it's been a couple of days, has it not?
Yep.
Did this happen everywhere?
Yes, it happened all over the islands. But
Okay, I guess I was tuned out for that part.
Yeah.
But this is odd that, again, they don't usually last for multiple days. I mean, it has before, but usually not. So...
Perhaps this will be a good chance for us to try out Kian's beads to see if we can use this as some kind of door.
It looks to Kian. What does NPC Kian say?
Oh, I didn't hear that. Someone spoke to me. Say that again. I'm sorry.
I
I thought I could get away with it for a moment.
Remember, channel your inner asshole when you're being Kian.
I want to try and use his pouch with the beads on it to see what happens if I take that into the sound hole.
Okay. He's like,
And before I do it, I'll take a deep breath and guide him.
he'll let you hold it for a moment.
All right.
When you go into the sound hole, it glows, the two ivory pieces, and you can hear somebody speaking, maybe, but it's really hard. Like, you can't tell what they're saying, but it's like when you're hearing whispering. Like,
I'll try calling out, "Hello? Can you hear me?"
you don't even hear your own voice.
Interesting. Quite interesting.
And they can see the glowing, and they can see me trying to talk, and they still can't hear me, right?
Yeah, but they can't hear you.
I have to apologize. I have to
And
take
they
a
can't hear
bathroom
them.
break.
You what?
I'll be right back. I have to take a bathroom break. I'm sorry.
Okay, go quick. No problem.
I'll step out, and well, it appears that I can
Yes,
hear
it is.
some muttering inside there, but it doesn't seem like anyone can hear me.
May I try it as well? I'd like to experience this for myself.
I'll hand over the sack to you.
And I will step into the sound hole as well. The sound vortex.
The no noise place.
Yes, the no noise place.
The place of no noise.
And you hear these whispers like,
I try to listen as close as I can, but obviously nothing.
no. And it's odd, like there's no other sound to it, like there's no ambient sound. Like when you're in a place and you hear a voice, you also hear everything in the atmosphere around it, but there's none of that.
Oh my gosh, Dylan ascended and came back. Zombie disappeared into the woods and then he just returned. While I'm in
You don't know. You don't want to know what I saw in there.
Actually, I'll look closer at the ivory on there. Like, is it the ivory, the whole ivory itself, or is it like the symbols on there? What is glowing exactly? What is?
It's the ivory piece that is.
Okay.
It's not the symbology on the ivory, the scrimshaw. It's not the scrimshaw.
Okay. The ivory itself.
Yeah.
Do I know if there's a way to learn what type of ivory this is? Like what it's made from?
You don't know. They don't know. Even the people who have it don't know. Actually, that's not true. They know that the pouch is made from narwhal tusk, and some of Meadow's buttons are narwhal. Some are from whale. Some are different kinds of things. But
Can I have her step in and see if it's the same thing that's made from a narwhal, or if it's a different piece of ivory?
if what?
Can we ask Meadow to step in so she can see what? Because then we said see if anything glows.
Yeah, she has
on
her
I want to
buttons.
see if anything glows. Yeah, because we didn't know for sure, but if she has them, maybe something on her will glow as well.
Yeah. And when she steps in, one of her buttons glows.
And when she steps out, I ask her what it's made of.
I guess I'll step in too.
You want to hold the bag when you step in, or do you want to just step in with no bag?
Wait, what?
When you hear
what is-
whispers, the bag has the ivory on it, and it glow, and you can hear whispers.
Well, I want to see if anything on me is glowing.
No.
I'll look at the tattoo on its back.
No, not glowing.
Interesting.
Okay.
It was smart. I wouldn't have thought about the tattoo.
I like to think of like any passer-byers watching us walk in and out of this one spot.
When they look at us, I'm like, he's an outlander. We're trying to teach him what sound holes are since he's new here. Sorry.
Glowing rock.
There's nobody near you.
Okay.
Oh.
If anybody has walked by, that's why I said we're trying to teach the outlander.
Right.
I clean up when I get out.
So
They're creepy.
do we know which does she know what it's made of? Whatever's glowing on her.
Let me see if she remembers. If she knows. I think from a seal.
All right. So perhaps it's just. But are there other ivory on her?
Yeah.
There's other ivory.
Not. She has a box with a bunch of buttons.
Mm-hmm.
They're all scrimshawed.
But are the other buttons ivory as well?
Yeah, they're all ivory.
So it's not just ivory in general. There's something very specific about certain pieces of ivory.
Well, they were made by the same person, so it very well may have been the same piece of ivory for both pieces.
Yeah, her husband.
It may have been, yes. But again, she thinks it might be from a seal, but from what we know, the other one was made from narwhal. So.
That's true.
And she says, I don't remember exactly what it was. Maybe it could have been narwhal, but I think maybe it was seal. She doesn't remember.
Yeah. Well, at least we have something here.
Yeah.
Something of note. Something with ivory.
Yeah.
We should continue.
Yes, let us head to the soul.
And as you start getting nearer to the soul, you see that there's a line of people outside sitting on stones that are like benches. They're just not. They're like carved into the rock and made into benches, and they're sitting and waiting. And there are clerics talking to them. You know them to be initiata. They're young ones just taking information, and they're writing, just like they were in Phelan. And there's about 4 of them, but there's probably 50 or more people in the line, like sitting and waiting.
Would I assume I could just walk past them, or would I feel very rude in doing that?
No, I mean you're a cleric in the same place, and the soul is open. It's open to people that need it. If you need the warmth, you can go in to enjoy, to get the warmth of the fire.
I'll just walk past them and look for an apostate or what? I'm sorry. What was the title of the person who's in charge? I forgot.
Well, the Apania is normally in charge, but right below that is a Samines.
Okay, I'll look for a Samine or an Apania to talk to.
And you see somebody kind of rise up when they see you come in, and someone starts walking towards you. One of the initiatas, not the initiatas. I'm sorry, an acolyte.
All right.
Are
hello,
you Morkant?
Yes, I am Morkant von Amstel.
I'm Ita. I'm so happy to see you. You made it. You made it very quickly too.
Yes. How did you know I was coming?
Well, I was informed by. There was somebody who came here that was a courier. Saying you'd be coming.
Right. I guess news traveled quickly. Yes, I'm here to inquire about what happened with the person who had returned from Ascension.
Yes.
What have you guys learned so far?
Really, almost nothing. But our Apania has taken the draught, so is unavailable. But I'm to assist you. Here, come with me. I'll show you where the body is.
All right. Allow me to introduce everyone else. This is Vazarin, Kian, Meadow, and Esloth.
Welcome. I wish it was under better circumstances that we would have an opportunity to meet each other.
Good meeting you.
As do we. Please lead the way, acolyte.
And the acolyte heads back to a room. Come in. We have the body in here. We have it in a box, and the box is a wooden box, but it's filled with snow, and the body is inside with the snow. We've been changing the snow just to keep the smell from getting into the church, into the soul. And it's the body of a gnome, a very thin gnome. Like, that's a very unusual thing to see, a gnome that is skinny and almost unclothed. I mean, just a little bit of cloth down below and a little bit of a jacket. And there's flowers clutched in its hands. And inside the jacket, you can see there are these scars that go up and down it.
Does it look like skinny or like malnourished skinny?
Like malnourished skinny.
All right. Can I look over the body to see if I can figure out exactly what he died of?
You can try. You can try and figure it out.
I'll try to assist you, however. You need to tell me what you need me to do, and I can help you however.
It's stiff, so...
Some rigor mortis going on.
Yeah. Not to mention frozen-ish.
Yeah, I'll just give it a good look over to see what I can tell.
Well, there are a couple things that are fairly obvious. It's got marks from thrashings on the front and back, like someone who maybe like a flagellant who whips themselves on the back, but not. I mean, you don't know what it would have been, but something like that. Not claw marks or tear marks, but more less deep marks. And the body is bruised. You can see where there are places where blood had clotted up underneath it, and it left it with dark marks. While you're looking, hold on, let me look at your character sheet real quick. Oh, I can't look at your character sheet. That's funny. Can you make me then an investigation check?
Not medicine,
Oh, you have medicine. Oh yeah, medicine. Perfect.
which is much better because that brings me to 9 instead of 3.
I was trying to assist. I don't know if you'd give me the assist with it or not. That's up to trying to help you however I can, like using like magic to like light, you know.
I have survival. I can help too.
Okay.
Do I get the advantage?
You do. Yes. I'll give it to you.
Sweet. That brings me to 21 then, a much better number.
That is a better.
There it
is. And
just a bit better.
Its throat, the gnome's throat, its mouth is kind of open, but there's something lodged down in its throat.
And
You see that in there?
the jaw and everything it's rigor mortis shut, right? It's not
Yeah.
frozen.
Right.
So there appears to be something in his throat. Perhaps we should break it open and find out.
I don't think that we should break it.
Well,
Is there any other way we can
Perhaps
get
you
there?
can pry it open.
Rigor mortis has set in, and like even any attempt to try and move this jaw is going to be rather difficult without breaking it.
And
Ita says, I'll be back in a moment, and you can tell there's a little nervousness about what's going to happen, and just ducks out.
Maybe we can
Especially
try.
Esloff, you can do that, you know.
I
Shit.
could. Do I want to? Do I want to desecrate this body? No.
Perhaps
That's
maybe
great.
we
You
can stick something in there and try and pull it out.
I prefer that idea.
Esloff, it's not desecration if you're trying to find out what killed it.
I mean,
It's
we could
disrespectful to
also
the body.
No,
Maybe
you're trying to
make
solve
a
its
slight-
murder.
He's not going to rest correctly if he's cut to pieces after he died.
I didn't say cut him open. I said break his jaw.
Point being, he'll still be in pieces.
all
I
right.
didn't say rip his jaw off.
I guess I will make
You
an
really
attempt.
want me to do this?
I'm gonna first make an attempt to try and pull it out to see if we don't have to desecrate a body.
I'll let you do a medicine check. with
Medicine.
that.
Okay.
Can I help?
Yeah, maybe
Can
you'll
I,
hold the jaw open.
can I try and
I mean-
hold it open without breaking it?
I got a 22.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. And you're able to pull it out, and when it comes out, it looks like a piece of, like the tip or end of an antler.
What in the hell is this?
It's an antler. I'm assuming this is anyone know
clearly.
much about.
But I'm saying, how the hell did he get an antler down his
It
throat?
looks broken on the end of it is broken off, not.
Did he bite off an antler of a creature?
Does it look cut or does it look snapped?
It looks snapped.
Okay. Perhaps he got in a fight with some form of stag.
Do I know what animal this antler came off of?
Make a survival check, maybe.
Handed it over to him.
It's going to be a 15.
Probably a deer.
This looks like a deer antler. Why it's in his throat, I have no idea.
Yeah, it didn't look like he swallowed it. It looks like it broke after it was in him.
And there's no puncture marks on it.
No,
just
it looks
the
like it
scratches
went
on the
down
back
into
and
his
the
body.
bruises.
It's not like the cause of his death, right?
It
No,
seemed to
we
be
think
blocking
it's-
his airway, his airway, airwave.
Would I have assumed he had asphyxiated based on what my little research over his body, or would I still not really know?
It was blocking his airway.
Okay. So he may have choked on this. The lashes on his back don't look particularly deep. He's definitely been,
Well, the lashes look old because they've healed over.
okay.
They're not recent.
It looks like he was... Now, are the bruises look like he was pinned down, and that's where the bruising came from?
Maybe.
Or...
There's a lot of like bruising, like something held him down or had weight on him.
Okay. My best guess is that something had pinned this man down and the antler was broken off in his throat. I don't know how
Wendigo
or
killed him.
why that could have happened. It's not easy to snap.
Was he killed by a Wendigo?
So
Do we have to go north?
I don't think they would know what a Wendigo is.
Are you telling me that this gnome gentleman disappeared? Was it 15 years ago? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he disappeared 15 years ago. Magically reappears when nobody else has done so, and then within like a day, gets pinned down by a deer, and its horn shoved down his throat and snapped off.
Yes. I am honestly kind of curious if we took this horn into that sound hole to see what would happen.
We could definitely try. Yes. That's not a bad idea.
Is Etta still around? Like, is she in earshot?
Ita, she's outside the room. While you're
Hey,
there,
Ita?
can you make me an investigation check, Vesrin and Eslav? It's your.
It's gonna be an 11 from me.
Nat 20, baby.
Yeah, there it is.
There we
Plus
go.
4, 24.
Thank you for picking up my slack.
Well, I missed it outside, but now I'm paying more attention.
While you're leading him back, you realize that within the flowers that are in its hands, there's actually, like, they're all dead, but there's some kind of a plant is alive in there, like it's still green.
Gentlemen, do you notice that flower there? Or that
It's not a flower, it's a plant, like a vine running through within it.
It's in his hand?
Yes, all the other plants are dead, but that particular one seems to
I want
be
to gently,
green.
like, reach over and see if I can open his hand.
No, you can't open his hand gently.
Just crush his fingers and it'll relax.
I mean, the flowers can be pulled out because they're brittle now.
I pull out this living plant.
And it's a vine that seems to have wrapped all around the other plants.
I'll hold it out in my hand and show the rest of the party.
Vestrin, can you make me a wisdom check at disadvantage?
Both of them were terrible.
Okay.
8 is what I got.
That won't do it.
That was
No. So there's this. You pull out the vine from the rest of them. Like you can easily pull them out of the hand because the hand is holding them, but they've gotten brittle and old, and not old, but they've died. So they don't have. They're removable pretty easily. But this one vine is not dead. It's the only one that's not. It's kind of wrapped all around the other plants. It has some little tiny leaves.
Well, if no one has anything to say about it, I'll just put it in my pocket and forget about it.
No, let's see. There's got to be a jar or something around here that we could put that in for containment. Who knows what this thing is? Perhaps it steals life from other plants or other things.
Just a plant.
We never know. I'm just saying, it's odd that everything else is dead but that, including the man that's holding it. Everything is dead but that plant.
That's why I was going to rub it all over his face. Do I look dead?
No.
We'll see in the morning.
It's just a plant.
All right. Well, you put it in your pocket if you want to take that chance. That's fine.
Here, I'll give it to you. You can have it.
Maybe only if I can find a jar around here to put it in.
If you're that worried about it, then
And-
fine.
Ita
I'm
comes
very
in.
cautious of dealing with anything. This man came from somewhere we don't know. What if this came with him? We don't know what it is.
I know what it is. It's fine.
Yes, but have you seen this particular vine before?
Have I?
Maybe. It looks like a lot of vines.
This looks like a regular vine.
Well, a regular vine would be dead by now.
Maybe. Could be magic. I don't know.
Exactly, which is why we need to take it and protect it and study it. I'm somebody who studies arcane arts, gentlemen. I'm telling you, until we know what this is, until I have a chance to detect magic.
You're arguing with a child right now. He's so stubborn and stupid.
And losing.
Oh, you
Like,
can't
as
win.
usual,
Listen,
argue with children,
I'll put
you
it in
lose.
this. I'll put it in this container when I have a chance to detect magic on it.
Puts it in
I
his
will.
pocket when you say that.
Okay.
Fine. Go ahead.
And Ita comes in. Have you
So-
finished doing the thing you
Yes,
were
we
gonna
found
do?
we found some antler in his throat.
Antler.
Yes. Does this look like any kind of animal around here that you might know of?
It looks like a deer horn, like a deer antler. Why would it be in his throat?
I don't know. It may have been blocking his airway.
Thank you. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
I like this. I like this person. They know what they're talking about. It's very odd. You are correct.
What do we know about him?
Well, he lived here 15 years ago. His daughter is a fisherwoman in the town, and she is now in her second mourning over her father's. Well, the first time over his ascendance, and now his return, but as dead. She is very torn up at the moment. He was. I don't really know a lot about who he was. She would know more than I would. He's not really old, so he probably would have been a kid when he ascended 15 years ago.
I thought children didn't normally ascend. Isn't that kind of?
No.
No,
I think
no, Ita would have been
Oh,
a kid.
she would have been. Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Misunderstood.
Flane. Yeah, his name is Flane Belinagar, but I know that from his daughter, and from the people who've heard about this now.
And the note said when he was found, there was someone standing over him.
Yes, the woman who found him, that was Madame Edna. She was the one who found his body, and there was something standing over him, but it was early morning and the sun was not fully up, and whomever it was ran to the woods, to the shale wood.
No, those
Ran
are
into
those.
woods.
Yeah,
What?
are those woods typically seen as safe? Or
Oh no. They're very dense. They're dangerous. And the wood is almost too hard to cut.
Hmm.
We should speak with not only the daughter, but the lady who discovered him. Perhaps if we speak to her, she might be able to remember more that she didn't notice before.
Yes, and if we can get a description of whoever was standing over him, I think it's important that we talk to them. They may have seen him return.
I think we should speak with the lady first that found the body.
Yes.
The more time she
Madame
has.
Edna?
Yeah, was her name? Yes, we should make sure with her, because the more time that she has to think about the more time her mind has to change what kind of happens. So,
I agree.
and then
so-
speak with the daughter.
So where can we find her?
I can take you to her home. This is Brooklyn, by the way. He's one of my wiener dogs.
What's up, Brooklyn?
Yes, if you'd be so kind, I would like to talk with her.
Of course.
What was the lady's name again? Madam what? The one
Edna
that found him?
Carball.
That's who found him?
Yes. And he says, "Follow me, and we'll go visit her home."
All right.
And she heads into the city.
If we
Yeah.
pass by that sound hole, I would like to walk into it while holding the antler.
Okay.
Or any other sound hole.
We notice one.
Okay. And you step into it, and just the sound goes dead. No
Alright.
whispering.
No glowing, nothing.
No.
I'll walk in, I guess, with the plant.
Yeah.
Do
Nothing.
anything happen?
No different.
Yeah, didn't it?
And while you're heading to the house, can you make me a perception check?
All of us?
Everyone?
Or-
Yep, all three of you.
Man, my dice like me today. 22.
Oh, yeah?
Uh,
24.
Nice.
Eat that.
16. 16.
We are alert.
Yeah, you are. It's good.
I have
So,
a +4.
Eslav,
Plus-
as you're walking, you see that symbol on the wall again, and it kind of reminds you of the way this vine twists.
I'm just going to pull it out and look at the vine. Like, look back at the symbol, look back at the vine.
They look.
Show it to Vezrin.
It could be that. Like that symbol could be this vine.
What's the name of the person guiding us again?
Ita,
Miss Ita. Is it a miss or a mister?
Miss.
Miss Ita. Acolyte Ita.
Yes.
We've noticed on several homes and locations that strange swirl symbol. Does it represent something?
I don't know. We've seen them recently, too. Nobody's been able to say what they are yet.
Nobody did it themselves? They just woke up and found it on their property?
Not that we've been able to surmise, but it wasn't the most important thing that we've had going on either.
And when did you start seeing these?
A few days ago.
Okay.
Before or after the ascension?
After.
Well then, odd indeed. Eslov.
Yes.
Good catch. Good catch.
I'm going to put the thing back in his pocket.
And you go a few more blocks down and into an alleyway, and the city gets tight again, and you get to a door. And she knocks, and the door opens wide. May I help you?
Yes,
And there's this flamboyantly dressed, but obviously not with money, with the idea of money more than actual money.
Hey,
I'll whisper
Wait.
over to Vazrin and be like, "This is more your type, yes?"
what kind of person is this?
It's a human who dresses as flamboyantly as you can without the actual
Yes.
ability of having riches to make it flamboyant.
Eslov just looks at them with confusion. Does Vezrin dress like this?
No, that's
No.
just much nicer.
And she looks at Ita and goes, "Ah, Ita, come. You
Vezrin
can
is
all come in if
staring
you
at her.
like.
Is it-
I have friends. I have friends. Wait. Come, have a seat. Sit
What's
down.
happening?
Sit down. Are you
Excuse
hungry?"
me, madam, excuse me.
Let's calm down here, please.
We are delighted to be here and to meet you and perhaps even eat some of your food. But we do need to speak to you about some very important details.
Yes, please sit. Give me one moment. Let me get something for you to eat real quick. And she heads into it's not really a kitchen. There's not a kitchen, but there's a table in there, and she has some a few vegetables on it, some fruit, and she looks over and she's got a little cheese, and she cuts up them into the fruit and cheese into little squares, and she brings them out. I don't have a lot, but you'll find that the apples are amazing this year, and the cheese, it's like it's made for royalty.
Oh, I can't wait to taste this cheese.
It's
And I
good.
will immediately take a piece of the apple with the cheese and put them together and bite it.
I assume I've only ever had like goat's cheese, so I'll try some of the cheese. What kind of cheese is it? Like fine cheese?
It's
This cheese
it's
made
a
for
gooey
royalty.
cheese, but it's not gooey, but it's soft.
So is it a goat's cheese?
It is a type of goat's cheese.
Oh, okay. So I've probably had it before.
Yeah, probably.
I'll taste it and I'll be like, I recognize this.
Yep.
Tastes like home.
No matter how good or bad it tastes, I'm like, oh, this is delightful. You must let House Magic know of this cheese. They would love this cheese in their house.
Does it taste bad?
House Madrick. You
Oh,
mean
there's
the Jarl's house?
Yes, they would love this cheese. You should. You know what? I know the cook there. You should send some of this cheese to her. She would be delighted to use this cheese.
No, I will not send it. I would have to take it myself.
It's not during this. Not during this. I would hope not.
No, I'll have to wait till it warms a little. Do you know somebody that? You say you know the cook.
Yes, I know the cook. She's a
Like you know
delightful-
of the cook?
No, I know the cook. She's a wonderful.
And her eyes just wide, huge. You know the cook to the Jarl?
Yes.
Have you ever met the Jarl?
Oh, many times.
Oh my gosh.
I've had a lot of business with that family. Yes.
Sorry, I'm laughing so much. I'll mute myself.
No, it's fine.
When will we make this? When will we broker this deal? The two of us. I will cut you in for 50% of whatever we can.
No, you keep the money for yourself.
Does Zasrin still have the crest on him right here?
No, I keep it tucked in right now, especially with people hunting me. It's tucked in right now.
And when you say that you'll keep it, like she could keep the money, her eyes, they don't get wide anymore. They get narrow. Like, what's the trick? Like, is there a catch to this?
Here's the catch. We need you. I know it was an awful thing what you stumbled upon.
What are you talking about? Ita steps in and goes, the body, the gnome. Oh,
Yes.
yes, Flane. My heart broke a second time for him.
Yes, it's a tragic story. We need you to tell us everything you can so that way we can handle this situation. You do that, and I will make sure that you can speak with, the houses. I caught myself. I almost said hour, but I make sure I said it. I didn't care that. The house's cook.
Damn. She didn't catch it.
Yeah. But and that's the only catch. And any deal you broker with her will be yours. I just ask that you give us all the information as honestly as you can.
I have already told everything to Ita, but I will reconstitute that story back to you. And when I do, I will embellish it some also.
No embellishing. No embellishing. We need all the facts. Every little detail that you actually do remember.
Do you wish it to be a good story? An interesting story?
An
Or-
honest story. An honest story. We are trying to find out what happened to him. We need all the facts.
Okay.
And as much as I love a good tale, and I do love a good tale, we need the facts for this particular story.
Then I will narrow it down to the actual only truth. Even though I've been working on this story now for days since I found Flame's body and preparing for anyone who would want to hear it.
And feel free to share that
As you
story
will.
with them.
Then I'll simplify it. I was walking the beach as I do almost every morning. I love the morning light as it comes up. The lake is beautiful at any time of year when the sun starts to rise. And as I was walking in the distance, I saw what I thought was a log. And as I got closer to it, I realized the log itself moved. It was a silhouette, of course, which is why I didn't realize it was nothing but a log at the moment. And when I saw it move, I froze for a moment, and there was somebody that stood quickly and looked at me. And when it did, this person, definitely, if it was a man or an elf, was tall for one, but it was not a gnome or a halfling or anything else.
When you say it struck you as an it before it struck you as a man or a woman, yes?
Yes, it ran bent, sort of like an old man that's injured or tired from age, but its steps were not quite like a man. They were more a lope. And when it did, whatever it was, it turned at me, and I could tell at that moment it was wearing a mask. And it frightened me to no end. The mask made its face long, and the back reached out beyond its neck and was pointed. And when I saw it, I was unable to move at that moment, and it was running the other way from me. But I knew it knew something that I didn't know. There was something in its eyes. So I was frozen still. I couldn't do anything, and it left and went to the shale wood. When it got there, I then got my composure back, and I went to where the log was, and I realized then that it was over a body, the body of Flane, who I hadn't seen since the Ascendants 15 years ago. But I immediately recognized the face, although, to be honest, I did not recognize the body well. It was so emaciated. There was no meat on it, and it had been beaten. There were whip marks or something along its torso. So, although I look strong, I am not as strong as I look. So I came back to I went to the soul and found the first person that I could, which, Ita, thank you for being there when I needed you most, consoled me, and then I took him and another couple of acolytes or initiates and retrieved the body, and the body was, thank goodness, still there. The ice, I will say there was something unusual that evening, or that morning also. The lake had frozen, like overnight in that area. It froze with waves, so it must have frozen instantly, because the waves themselves were frozen, which I have never seen in my life.
Well, madam, I must say first and foremost,
Quite the story.
You are brave. Most would not have had the composure to pull themselves together after what they saw and go and retrieve the proper people to help you. So I commend you for those actions.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Well,
You must have had a hard life and been raised in a way that you really had to earn your stripes in life.
Yes, well, we're not here to talk about my upbringing, but I do appreciate those words. They strike a chord with me. But thank you for the story. The thing that was wearing the mask, did the mask have horns on it at all, by the way?
It spiked back off its head like a beast.
Yes. Interesting. Did it look like it was a wooden mask, or did it look like it was an animal? What? I mean, I know it may have been at a distance, but just anything you might remember.
It wouldn't have been wood. It was white. Maybe bone.
Our character, what color is that antler?
White.
Is it like white? Like pure white?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, madam, I will give you the information to the cook. Tell her Mr. Wren sent you when you do make a trip there. R-Y-N, Wren. And let her know that I tasted your cheese and I thought she might be able to put it to good use for the magic household.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I need to change my clothes or something.
You need to relax. You have plenty of time. There's no rush on this.
God, just so you know, our answers is ready.
I said I just told him, give me a moment. We'll
Okay.
take a break in a minute, and we'll bring him in.
All right.
Gentlemen, do you have any other further questions for the lovely lady here?
No, I think if there's anything else you remember, be sure to let us know.
I will let
My
Ita
only-
know, who will then let you know. Because
My
I don't
only
really
comment
know
is
where.
that
Do you live here?
No, I'm from Phelan.
That's why I didn't recognize you, because I know just about everybody that lives here. And she's older, so it makes sense that she would know a lot of people.
Yes.
I have actually one question. I've noticed a lot of this spiral pattern appear all over your city. Do you have
Oh,
any
when he
idea
says
what
that,
that is?
I'll take out the vine and I'll show it to her.
I have seen that too. I don't know what it is, though.
No, have people been talking about it?
I haven't asked, but there are signs and symbols all over. Well, not along most of these streets.
Have these symbols always been here?
Oh no, I've never seen one until recently. And I only noticed yesterday that it had been carved into the wood of one of the buildings. Very unusual, if you ask me.
Indeed.
And I'll turn to Ita. Well, do you know if there's any elders here that might be able to give us more information about what this symbol could possibly mean?
We don't really have. I think Phelan has more records. Our records are very limited to what happens during the festival. I don't think we have much that would help.
Very well. We've eaten your food and we've taken your time. Gentlemen, perhaps we should go and find a place to reconvene with the others.
All right.
I could use a couple drinks.
Yes, we should have this happen.
Do you have
Yeah,
any suggestions for places to go to get a good drink around here?
Oh, the Blue Barrel. The Blue Barrel Bar. The finest in elixirs to tide you over till morn.
If he was looking for the strongest, where would he go?
Oh, the same place. That is
Okay.
why it's such a fine establishment.
It
Thank
sounds
you.
promising. I'll give it a try.
I will give her a couple silver for the food that she had given us as we leave.
Oh my lord. You have this much money to just toss for a story? And she
No.
looks at you a little differently, like at that moment.
It's not just for the story, it's for the food and the drinks that you shared with us and your company.
Did you tell me how you know the chef of House Magic?
She took care of me for many years and provided me and taught me much as well. So
You're from Cairo?
I am from Cairo, yes.
Were you the chef's son?
No, just a very good acquaintance.
Thank you so much for the coin. I will use it on the appropriate
whatever you
apparel to
No.
show
Your
myself.
apparel is fine. Use it on what you wish, what you need. Enjoy yourself.
How much did you
Thank
give
you.
her?
2 silver.
I slowly starting to understand how money works. So sorry, there's a crash from the kitchen. He takes out a gold and he hands it to her, like a
Her eyes
little bit
bug-eyed, like,
for the
Yes.
for the food, I suppose.
this is he's not from here, but he is
thank
a wonderful
God.
companion.
Thank the gods he's not from here.
But I'm glad that he could give you that gold as well.
And Ita gives her a hug and says, "Thank you, thank you, madam." And she says, "You are welcome anytime." And would you like to take any of the cheese or the apples
Oh,
with you?
sure.
I'll take the cheese.
Okay.
I'll take some of the cheese and the apples as well. Yes, of course.
I didn't try the apples, but he does love the cheese.
Yeah.
Eslov, you must try the apples with the cheese. It is
Nope.
a delight. It is a delight.
Okay, he does, but he's like, it kind of masks the flavor of the cheese a little bit, and when he eats the cheese, he's reminded of his home, so he likes to eat the cheese plain more often than not.
All right. And Ita holds the door open and you guys head out. And she just kind of watches you as you leave, like in awe. She is a very good person, just a little extravagant.
Eccentric.
Yes.
Who isn't? We're all eccentric.
Yes. And you guys walk, the door closes, and we'll take a break for a few minutes. I want to bring in Arian, get our other player in here. So we'll be back in a few.
Well, you gotta outdo me, bro. You gotta outdo me. Eslov, you gotta outdo me, man. I'm like, here's 2 silver. Oh, you're great. Here's a gold.
No.
I was not planning on it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We now have 4 of 5 with us, which is awesome. And we will have Jazz back next week. She's been sick. She's recovering, and she's doing well. Not COVID, by the way. So, all right. So, does somebody want to get Arian up to speed with what we've done so far, real quick?
We mostly got there. I'm ready to.
You ready?
To hop back in. Yeah.
So you just left the house of Madame Edna Carball, who is really friendly and super excited now after meeting all of you. After meeting one of you especially, but no, 2 of you. 2 of you did her justice. Not justice, did her well. And Ita, who is the acolyte from the soul here in Raisa, is happy to have taken you here to meet her, and you said that you wanted to meet somebody else, if I remember correctly.
Yes, we're gonna get a drink.
Oh yeah, you wanted to get a drink.
And some meat, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
The cheese was delightful, but we need something more filling.
Yeah, she said the Blue Barrel, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you recommend the Blue Barrel as highly as she does? Or is there a different type?
Oh, I would recommend the Blue Barrel if you don't need to remember tomorrow.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest. I barely remember the last half a day. So.
So perhaps that's where we should get a room tonight as well.
The food is helped by the drink.
Oh, good to know.
Isn't all food helped by the drink?
Oh,
Some food needs it more than other food.
yeah.
This is probably true, although I would never know. I've never experienced that yet.
And he starts leading you towards it.
Believe me, when you're eating raw birch bark, it certainly helps.
Ew,
Eslov
that
would
sounds
know.
Terrible. That sounds terrible. Why would you do that to yourself?
When there is nothing else to eat, it keeps us alive.
There's some truth to that.
But
Apparently.
does it really keep you alive? I mean, if that's
Yes,
what
it does.
It's not living. It's just surviving. There's a difference between living and surviving.
To us, there's a fine line. They're mostly one and the same. We enjoy surviving.
I don't know. I enjoy my food.
And after several blocks, you can see there's a little sign that hangs over the street with a blue barrel on it. No words, just a picture.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that is the Blue Barrel.
Wow, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I was going to say that.
I think we have arrived, gentlemen.
I don't have to be sarcastic anymore.
So is there a reason why there's no words on it? Is it because people are so drunk it's just easier to see the Blue Barrel rather than the words? Blue
No,
Barrel?
it's because they're so poor and dumb. You wouldn't understand.
They don't.
It's a terrible life we live here in the skies, but we make do.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to get back to the soul, and you can enjoy your time there, and I'll be ready when you're ready, and I'll bring you to meet whomever you need to meet next.
As Ita's walking away, I just want to grab her quick. Just really quick, Ita. I know you guys catch a lot of fish in the lakes around here. Have you ever caught one that had arms?
And she looks at you weird, like, what do
Like,
you mean? Like it
here-
ate an arm and was hanging out of its mouth?
Like it has 2 arms to grab you with. Kind of a long fish.
No, I think
I was
there's
asking-
something
I was-
disturbing about the vision you're putting in my mind with that.
I was just asking you for a friend. Forget about it. Or then
Asking
I'll
for a
catch back
friend.
up with them. Catch back up with them.
Right, asking for a friend.
I
Classic.
need to make a shirt for you, Brandon. It has like a fish with like arms and it says "Beware, armed fish."
The fish are armed.
Caution, armed fish.
Beware of the armed fish.
And-
They're scary creatures. They'll pull you under.
There's the sound of music coming from inside, which is nice.
I guess we get ourselves a drink and what, debrief?
I'll be the first to enter.
I'll be the second. I'll let the Outlander enjoy it first, and then I'll go in and look for a place to sit.
And there are a lot of people in here, and the music is not like happy music. It's sadder. And the people that are in here look like they've been drinking for a day or two.
We get something a little bit more cheerful in here.
But the whole town seems like this right now, so, reading the room and all.
I'll ask them if they can play Wonderwall.
People have been through enough.
You wouldn't want to put them through more trauma.
All right, we'll get some drinks and find a spot.
And an elven girl comes over. Do you wish to sit at the bar, or would you like a table?
I think we should find a table, someplace we can all see each other at.
Preferably further in the back, please.
And she leads you back to a table, and the tables in here are all fairly dark. There's candles and stuff at them, and lamps in here. But it's, even with all of the light, the lamps, it still feels fairly dark. The wood is a dark wood. There actually is a blue barrel behind the bar that is huge, and it's got a tap in it. And when you sit down, you realize that she's a little bit standoffish with the Dragonborn. Like nervous.
Oh, good. They have racists in this town.
I'll tap him on the shoulder and go, Miss, this man right here is from away from this island, and we are here to show him the best drinks you guys have.
The strongest drink.
Yeah, I'll have some of that blue label over there if you got it.
Yes, the blue label. Is that what you call it there, kid? The blue label?
I mean, I assume it comes from the blue barrel, so I assume when they label it, they refer to it by the barrel type.
Is it a blue drink?
I apologize. I've just never seen someone that looks like you, sir. Or
He's
madam.
magnificent.
Really? Never.
Never, no.
How old are you?
She, for an elf, looks young.
So like 120.
Yeah.
No, probably
I'm asking her.
60,
I'm asking her.
70 maybe.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Really?
she says I'm 62.
You've been around a while, and you've never seen one of my kind?
I have not.
You've at
Are
least
you
heard of us, haven't you?
Are you from Phelan?
I'm from very far north.
From all kinds come through Phelan. I believe you're of the dragon kind, correct?
Yes. So you've at least heard of us.
Yes, you're the first time I've seen a person of your type.
What
And
do you
I'm-
think?
I
Impressive,
think
right?
you're very large.
You should see more
I guess,
out here.
hey, how many elf folks do you see coming through the blue? Not the blue, no, the north. Slav?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah. Sorry. How many elves you seen in your homeland?
I have never seen one.
Weird. Kind of like it goes both ways.
Well,
Difference
Can
being,
you or
difference
gnomes or-
being that I live nomadically.
Yeah.
well,
So
today
you travel
is a
more
new
than
day.
a barmaid in Orisa then.
Not until recently.
Yeah.
So
As I was saying, it's a good day for new meetings. Can we get that blue label, Miss?
Yeah.
blue label around everybody.
I'll just have some water, please.
Whatever is
Have a blue
strongest.
label. If he doesn't, bring him water and a blue label.
Morgan, Meadow, have a drink.
Thank you.
No. If he doesn't drink it, I will. Yes.
We're all paying for ourselves, right? We're not.
I'm not
Again,
paying-
whatever is strongest, please.
Anyway, so what have we got so far? I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of sleepwalking through the last little bit of our investigation. So we have this giant elk thing killed a man by shoving his horn down his throat. Okay.
I don't know
Well,
that
not a man,
that's
a
the
gnome.
case.
A gnome. Gentleman.
Well, okay. Now which one of us is being racist?
Well, it depends on how you refer to man. If you mean his sexual orientation, yes, he was a man. If you meant he was a human, male human, then no, he was a no.
Well, curse the ambiguity of common, then I suppose. Anyway. So he's got something shoved down his throat. He's got markings on his body. Did the bruises from the whip marks seem old?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
the whip mark
So
scars are old.
that combined with the starvation makes me think it was a good idea to have some of that ivory on my person.
Yes.
Also the fact that he has an antler shoved down his throat is further evidence for that fact.
It appeared to be blocking his airway, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was the cause of death.
You think?
Well, we don't know. It's still debatable.
That's true. Well, what was the cause of death? Did we see the body?
We
Yes.
did see the body.
Okay.
Well,
What did it look like the cause of death was?
He may have suffocated. He wasn't blue, right?
well, there was bruising on the body, like he'd been
Yeah,
pinned down.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
there could have
and-
been internal damages done by that, but it didn't look like it.
It doesn't look like the antler went straight down the esophagus. It looks like maybe it got in its mouth and blocked it, but also cut into the body, the neck and stuff, but inside.
Was there blood from
didn't
that wound?
If there was, it went down and you weren't able to see it. Weren't able
And
to
the
get to
antler
it.
didn't have any on it.
No.
He might have drowned in his own blood, for all we know.
Possible. Yeah.
And the drinks come and they're in blue mugs that look like barrels, and they're really large with a big handle, frothing nicely. Would you care for any food?
All of your meat. Not all of it, I'm kidding.
We have no meat
Only most
at
of
the
it.
moment. We have fish.
Oh, I'm fine with fish. Fish is meat.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sure. Yes, I'll have a plate of your special.
Your largest fish for me.
Okay, so we got a body. Was the gnome scene a lot like upright before?
No.
What's up?
No.
No. So we don't know when he died, nor specifically whether he was dead before this monster thing came. I mean, we can maybe make an educated guess that the monster thing had something to do with his death, but okay.
Well, didn't they say something like he'd been back for like a day? Or that
I
he just
should check the
returned?
letter. It's been a minute.
No, he was found dead.
Oh, so they assumed he'd returned and been killed again.
Yeah, he died.
Oh,
At
we
some
don't know
point.
if he died here or there. We just know that
Correct.
he's dead.
Yeah.
There is one thing I found a little bit peculiar, Vazarin. Have
Yes.
you ever noticed anyone speaking about someone ascending and it being a morning? Because twice now they've referred to the first time he left that they mourned his disappearance. Typically that's not normal, especially not from an acolyte, unless they're
Well,
me.
They still, well, I mean, from my understanding, we still, in a way, is not mourn them, but it's different. Like, we're happy they have ascended, but at the same time, people miss them because they're gone. I mean, the whole town here, look at them. They don't even know how to drink properly. They're all depressed. You don't drink when you're depressed. It makes you do dumb things.
Oh wow. Yeah, you and I really do have different life experiences.
And you've done a lot of
Are
dumb
you-
things, yes?
Are you saying you do smart things when you drink when you're happy?
Yeah, you should do a lot more fun things when you're happy.
And
Okay.
The food
so,
shows.
was there a sound hole near the body when it was found?
No,
No, okay.
not that anybody knew of.
We
there
haven't
was.
really investigated the area, but there are still sound holes around the town.
We could definitely
From last
check the
night,
area.
right?
We
Or
could
from a
check
couple
the
nights
area.
ago?
2 days, yeah, a couple days
So,
ago.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not many, but there are a couple.
All right. Because if
Perhaps we
there's a
should
sound
check
hole,
it.
sorry.
I'm sorry, I think perhaps we should check the area as well. That's
Yeah.
not a bad idea.
It's possible. I mean, if there are sound holes left when people leave, I forget what we called them, by the way, but I'm just going to go with sound holes. If there are sound holes left when people leave, there might be something when they return, although maybe that residual effect is on the other side. It's hard to say.
A loud screaming area would be horrific.
Yeah. Oh. I guess the more salient point is apparently a giant elk monster with a face mask thing running around the town. So.
It ran into the forest.
Okay. Well.
The other thing is, and I'll pull this out because I'm not sure if you were paying attention earlier. There's this
Yes.
weird swirl symbol that we found. It's showing up around the city after the ascension, and it looked like this vine that we found also on the body. The vine, it's alive. All the other plants were dead in the gentleman's hand, but this vine was still alive, and it was
I'll pull it
also
up.
looks.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Scott, I'm getting none of that.
I see it on the stream, but for some reason on this camera it's not
Oh.
clear.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I can see on the script. Okay, so just there we go, perfect. Okay, so
So the vine is like coiled like that,
Yes.
like
do
a
we know where we
spring
can
almost?
find more of that type of vine, or is that something I've seen before, Scott, by any chance?
You might have. It's.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of vines, and a lot of vines do that. So you've probably seen vines that look like
Okay,
that.
but so it's not necessarily something like weird or aberrant. It's a vine. I may not know what type of vine, but it's a vine I've seen in the wild.
No, but what was weird about it to them was the fact that the vine was the only thing still alive on the gnome, and it had like tangled around all the flowers and other plants in her hand.
Okay.
And even though the body was in ice, the vine was still alive.
Okay, so
And
we should check
green.
it. Yes.
Speaking of which, I'm going to go into cast and detect magic to see if there's anything magical on this vine.
Of
No.
time.
I'm going to do a ritual.
While,
Oh, so
while
you'll be
you're
waiting a little
drinking-
longer there.
I'll be
Yeah,
holding the vine out in my hand for like
No,
15
just
minutes.
put it on the
Just
table. It's just 10 minutes. Put it on the table and enjoy your meal while I do this.
And the food arrives, and they're not big fish. There's just mounds of small fish, like sardine-sized fish,
Okay.
and
He's not
they're
picky.
salted.
I'll eat them
And
whole.
yeah, that's how you eat them. You eat the bones.
How strong is this drink, by the way?
It's pretty strong, and it's a beer,
Like
not even
satisfyingly strong? Like strong enough?
very strong.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
He enjoys it.
What a bunch of dudes. Priority number one. How strong is this fake alcohol
fun fact,
drink?
I don't
Right.
actually like beer. I hate
Yeah, neither do
beer.
I. Okay, so we've got this vine. You're going to test it for magic. For a good place to start. Might be also worth finding out where we can find more of it. If at all, maybe in the forest around here where said giant monster thing might be.
Yes.
I didn't hear any reports of someone outside of Raisa returning, but that might be another occurrence. Anyway, I think the forest might be a place to start, just from...
Yeah.
How far is it till nightfall?
A couple of hours.
So
You're middle
we
of the
probably-
afternoon now, maybe
We
late
probably
afternoon.
don't want to check the forest during night, I'd imagine. Should try in the morning.
Well, when did he die?
A couple of days ago,
I mean, what time? Like,
When was the body found?
When was
In
the
the
body
morning
found?
or in the evening?
early morning,
okay.
like sun just starting to crack.
It doesn't sound like the kind of thing you run across mid-afternoon with sun shining all over its form.
Well, if you think it's best we go into the forest at night, I will follow you, but it seems like an unnecessary risk.
Hard to say. I suppose if we're looking for a vine, it's worth going in the daytime anyway, just if we have to straight up find something.
I prefer to relax a little before we go.
And you guys finish eating, and your spell completes. And the vine is not magical.
My scroll case, is it magical?
Yes.
Is Kian's bag, the buttons on it, are they magical?
The pull,
The string.
the ivory on them is.
Ivory's magical.
What school of magic is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, what school of magic is everything? What's the scroll and what are the...
What about the tattoo?
Hold on, I got
Does he know if the tattoo's magical?
No.
Yeah. Ooh, you can detect...
Let me ask for him.
And Meadow's buttons are all magical.
Interesting. All of her buttons are magical.
Yeah. She has a box of them, and she'd like to know. Hold
Are
on.
they all the same school of magic for her buttons? Or
They are not. Hold on.
Poor Scott.
Okay, the pouches
No, tell me all
are
of them.
the pouches are abjuration and enchantment. One is one of each. The buttons, there are 2 that are enchantment, 1 that is evocation, 2 that are transmutation, 4 that are conjuration, and the rest are abjuration.
I'll just go back and watch this part to get that again. With the
I
scroll
will-
case?
I will text it to you in Discord.
Thank you.
There you
And
go.
the scroll case? Scroll case?
And the scroll case is enchantment.
Scott, are you defining enchantment as just items, magical items that are enchanted?
Yes,
Okay.
that are, yes, I'll leave it
Okay.
at that.
Like an
want-
item that has specifically
Yeah.
had an effect at enchant. Okay, cool.
Yes. I don't want to go further.
Yeah. I'm just saying, as opposed to like the enchantment, like the spells are all like mind magic. So I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's what you have in mind or okay.
And I will tell you that one of those, I'll point to the one that, this one here is some sort of protection, and this one here has some type of enchantment on it. For those.
Well, what about
the tattoo? Sorry. You about to ask about the tattoo?
Oh, so if you show your tattoo, the whole tattoo is showing, but it's hard to tell what magic it is because it doesn't match the colors of things that you have that you know of.
This is odd. It's not like any magic that I've ever seen before. But yes, the tattoo does seem to be ensourced with magical energy. Well, Khan, is there anything that you'd like me to look at while I have this spell working?
I don't believe I have anything of magic on me, so I don't really think that that's necessary. But did you
Do I
check
see
the
anything glowing
amulet?
on him?
Did what?
Do I see anything glowing on Marcon?
No,
No. The antler? Does the antler glow at all?
no.
No, the amulet does not glow. Neither does the vine. Is there anything else in the room that I noticed? Is anything else in here glowing?
No.
The giant keg.
Right, the giant
Okay,
keg.
Necromancy.
I don't think I want any more of the blue label. Not bad.
You have to be very tough to handle 2 from the blue label and survive.
So, with that, I will release the magic.
Okay.
Well, we have some answers and we have more questions.
So you said the string is abjuration.
It was the buttons, right? Or the...
So
Abjuration.
you mean by the pouch handles? Is that what you mean, Scott?
Yes, the
Okay.
handles, the ivory handles.
Okay.
The pouch itself is not.
Okay. So abjuration is defensive magic sort of thing, protection from
Yes.
Yeah, I'm unsurprised, I suppose, that that's what kept me back. Same thing for her button.
What? Only one button glowed when we put her into the sound hole.
Yeah.
What magic was that button?
It was one of the abjuration buttons.
Okay.
Makes sense. I mean,
Protects you. I would not lose those in case another ascension happens.
yeah. I mean, oh, trust me, I don't plan on. Although we should be safe for a while. But yeah, I'll keep it on me. All right, so we've got that. The vine's not magic. The antler's not magic. So that tells us at least it's a relatively mundane creature. So not mundane, obviously. It's a giant weird mask stag thing, but it lives. You know, it's not some sort of construct made of weird shadow energy.
Right.
So that means it's got to be somewhere, and that means it's probably out in the forest.
Yes, we should. Do we still want to speak with the daughter of the gnome?
Yes.
Good idea.
I think that really depends on how many of those you gentlemen plan on having.
Oh, I'm only
Before we
having
go-
the
just
one
the
for
one.
now. Yes.
Before we go and speak with the daughter. But yeah, whenever you're ready, I think we should go and see how she's holding up.
You pack in the fish, finish your drinks, and when you're done, she comes over and she says, "Thank you for not being offended when I was nervous around you when you first came in.
It's no
Sir.
problem.
I will not be nervous
You
like
should
that
have
the next time."
You should have seen me when the first time I saw Kenku.
A what?
You ever seen a Kenku before?
So stop making fun of the people who haven't seen as much of the world as you.
All right. You
I
should
have
have
not.
seen me the first time I saw a gnome.
Oh. Yeah, there are many gnomes. You must have been quite a surprise.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Compared to your height, you must have been felt impressive.
I have never felt more impressive.
Wait till you meet a halfling.
A what?
A halfling. They're more like a quarterling, but they're called halflings.
Quarterling?
They're very tiny, smaller than a gnome. All right, let's go. Speak
Do
to
it.
this doctor.
All right.
And I feel so much more invigorated and, present than I was earlier. That blue label really does something to you.
It wakes you up until it knocks you down.
Oof.
With that necromancy magic on.
And you needed to go see Ita again to be led to the daughter's house, our home. So you go and find Ita at the Soul, I suppose? Or are you doing anything else? Okay.
I imagine we just go find Ita and talk to the daughter before the night's through.
All right. Ita is at the Soul and talking with someone. She's like, give me one moment. I'll be with you in a moment. She finishes up with one of the people that are here being interviewed. And she hands off to another acolyte and comes over. How was your meal?
It was terrific, thank you. Could you direct us to the daughter's house so we can try and talk with her before it gets too late?
Yes, I can lead you, show you where she lives. And
thank you very much.
I hate to be rude. Remind me what the fellow's name was and what his daughter's name is, just before we go in.
The gnome that was found dead, his name was Flane Belinagar, and the daughter's name is Butter Belinagar.
All right, well that'll be hard to forget. So thank you.
That's probably a nickname though. But and Ita takes you go back into town, but at this time you go to the outskirts of town near the lake, and there's in this area of town there's some small standalone homes and huts. They're tight, but they're individual. And you get there, and even before you knock, you can see that there are people outside. There's a gnome there with a couple of children, outside, bundled up and playing, throwing snowballs and stuff. And she's just sitting on the porch smoking a pipe, seemingly in contemplation or something. She doesn't notice you as you come up until you're almost to the house. Barrowin, and she kind of comes out of this thought and looks over, and she stands up. Hello, Ita. Can I help you with something? And she sees all of you, and he says, we would like to speak to you for a moment about your father, if you have a moment. And she looks at you for a minute and come up, of course. Would any of you like a smoke?
You're muted.
You're muted, buddy. But
Who is?
Me. Oh, I would be delighted. Yes, please.
Smoke.
Yeah.
oh man,
I assume that I've had like pipe tobacco,
Yeah, ritual stuff.
but is this like paper smoke or is this a pipe?
It's a pipe.
Oh, okay. In that case, then I know what it is.
Where did you get this lovely pipe?
From my father.
Oh. I was hoping to be a shop nearby, but I might be able to find one.
This one just reminds me of him, so.
Well, it's a good pipe.
So what is it that you want to know? Anita says they have questions. I'll leave it to them, if you don't mind. I do need to get back to the soul while they speak with you. I'm sorry for your loss again. And he hightails it out and leaves you with her. And she starts passing the pipe around to anyone who wants some. Meadow immediately takes some. What?
well,
Pipe?
that's not gonna end well.
And then she passes it to someone else.
All right. Listen, ma'am, we're gonna have to get into some potentially painful questions about your father. I'm sorry to do it to you, but we are. I don't know if you heard about the events that happened in Phelan, or if you felt a large number of people leaving the town last night as well, but something weird's going on with the Ascension, and we're looking into all of the weirdness, and part of that includes your father.
Yeah, we've never experienced so many leaving in one eve.
Yeah, and you can imagine how weird it was that we heard that someone came back. So could you tell us? Were you the one who found him, or was that something?
No, that was Edna.
The cook lady, right? Right.
Edna.
So, okay, maybe I should start at the beginning then. What can you tell us of the day he left? The day he ascended?
He was dressed up in his finery and was very much looking forward to an amazing event. He loved these festivals and parties, and he loved to be with other people and to show off. And
how many years ago was this?
15 years ago.
15 years, okay. All right.
It
That was that.
Yeah, it was the worst day of my life, my mother's life. I mean, rest her soul. She passed later than that, but
Okay.
somebody gets hit with a snowball. Veteran. And one of the kids is standing down there kind of looking up at you.
I give him like an eye, and then I smile and I pick up the snowball and throw it back at him.
And she jumps.
Make
she
an
jumps
attack
back
roll.
Take an attack. Throw it as hard as I can, and there's rocks in it.
D4 plus your dex.
Take a kid's head off. Boom.
And she doesn't say anything to them. You know, they go back to playing after a moment, but at least they didn't test you.
Listen, so it does sound like we don't want to drag you through too much unnecessarily, but we have a couple of things that were found on his person when he was found. Could you guys get out the vine and the antler if you've got it? Yeah. Do you know what this plant is? Either name, where we can find it, why he might have an interest in it?
Well, he had interest in all sorts of plants. He was, I don't know who his patron was, but he was always interested in the things of the wild, you know, the wilderness, and so we always had unusual plants and mushrooms and toadstools and seeds and.
Did they
God
grow in
knows
your
what
gardens?
else. No, he would bring them in from
You
his
make toads
ventures.
for stools.
Oh no, there's stools for toads.
toads.
Yeah.
He was a warlock, and he was always
He was a what now?
a warlock. He was always venturing out into the wilderness, looking for things. But I was young at the time. I didn't know. I didn't understand what he was doing or why, but he was cheerful and happy.
All right, I do appreciate the picture of his disposition. I was wondering if we could get back to the bit about the warlock. You said you don't know to whom he was beholden. Could you give a general idea? Because you know, I'm no expert on the arcane, but I know that there are a variety of warlock types.
Well, this was his staff, and she has a staff that is by her seat.
What does it look like? Yeah.
It came to me after he passed. It became mine, so I've appreciated it, and it's sort of a kind of a golden looking wood, carved and kind of spirals up and then ends in the head of, it looks like maybe an otter.
Interesting.
Okay.
I might have to go into another ritual here to see if it's magical.
And I mean, there aren't very many things that I still have of his. The pipe, one of his books that he scribbled things in. That was.
Oh, we'd appreciate that if you could get that out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Give me a moment. And she goes in. She comes out a moment later, and she goes. She has a leather-bound book there, with a quill that is with it sort of strapped to it, and the feather kind of, it looks like the feather is wrapped around the spine and held there by some kind of a band. It may be dusty. It hasn't seen light in quite some time. And he also had this knife. I had forgotten about that, and she puts it out, and there's an ivory pommeled knife. It has no scrimshaw on it. It's just an ivory pommel, but a blade, a small blade.
Do you mind if I go? I'm a bit of a dabbler in the arcane arts myself. Do you mind if I go into a ritual to see if I can learn more about these items?
I don't even really know what that means. Honestly, I'm not.
He's going to start chanting things and making gestures, and 10 minutes later, he's going to sound like he knows some stuff.
If it will help in solving this, of course.
It very well might. And I will go into that while you guys are talking to her and continuing.
Was there a particular patch of the woodlands he might have preferred? Something that he
loved the
thought about?
shale wood.
The shale wood, is how Scott? How big is the shale wood?
It's a small forest that is the one nearest to here. It's on the side of a hill. It's on a hill.
Is it the one? Is it where he was found, or was he found in town?
It was the one near where he was found.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, shale wood nearby. So if we
That was the force the creature ran back into, yes?
presumably.
The one that was over him, right, Scott?
Yeah, that's where it went. It ran into the shellwood.
It's got all those
And-
possessions.
And you go through the possessions, and the dagger is not magical.
Not even the ivory.
Not even the ivory. The book is magical. Let me rephrase it. The contents of the book is magical. And the staff is magical.
What kind of magic do I get off of the staff?
The staff, it has abjuration magic with it.
I wonder if this. I'd like to look at the staff closer. I mean, anything
Okay.
on there? Any symbols? Any words on there that might mean something to me arcane wise? Give us an idea of who who his patron might have been.
There are symbols on it that look. You might recognize them as some kind of old form of fairy.
I do have comprehend languages that I could cast.
Yeah, it might be fae of some kind. Okay.
I'm assuming, and again, this is just an assumption, that his patron was probably to the Fae kind. There seem to be some type of Fae symbols and runes on the staff.
Would I know of any strong fae spirits that lived in that forest?
No.
Okay.
You don't even know the forest here. Most people don't go into the forest. They're afraid of the forest. Only people like Kian will go into the forest generally, regularly.
And her father.
And her father.
He'd go in to collect,
Yeah.
plant samples, maybe some animals. I don't know.
Yeah.
This might be a big ask, and if it is, then I understand. Could we perhaps hold on to the staff, because we plan to go towards the forest to investigate him. Perhaps it might give us some type of connection to him.
Or his patron?
Or his patron, yes.
She sits back and looks at you for a moment. I don't have many things to remember him by. I really do need to make sure that it returns to me.
Understood.
Everything in this world, ma'am, is a calculated risk. So it's down to you to ask yourself.
Can't promise you anything.
We'll bring it back, assuming we don't die. I can swear to you that.
Yes.
Unless all four of us end up 6 feet under, or eaten by crows or something, we will bring the staff back.
Be ready.
Perhaps-
And yes, if it will help.
And I'll look at the spells in there. Is there any spells that I recognize inside the spell book?
It doesn't look like a spell book to you. It looks like scribbles and symbols that have been like sketched out in really weird ways.
Figured as much.
Mind if we take the book as well? I don't know if it'll mean something, or if the symbols in there might be relevant.
Make
I
me
can
a perception
scribble.
check, Vestrin, while you're looking through the book.
Would it be investigation?
It would be investigation. You're right. I mean, he's sort of.
Yeah, that's fair.
16.
You do recognize some symbol somewhere in there, although you don't know what it is. You've seen it somewhere, and then you look up at Eslav and you realize there's a symbol in here from his back.
And I'll point that out. Look, gentlemen, look at this.
Symbolism.
There's this,
It's
one of
the-
these symbols matches the one on his back.
Like the one at the top that looks like a spear point top or something.
Tattoo. Can't find it.
All right, I don't know if we have any other questions for this young lady.
The place where your father was found, is it very
Okay.
far from where he disappeared?
I have it pulled up. Which one is it?
Near the top, it looks like the spear point top.
Hmm.
The long diamond shape.
So far we have identified the spear point and the sun. We don't know what they are.
Yeah,
Orkant had a question, I think.
Yeah, the body was found near to the Shalewood forest on the edge of the lake
Yeah.
Carling.
Yes, but is that near where your father ascended?
No, he ascended in town during the festival.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We'll see you again soon, and I'll make sure that the soul arranges for your father's final resting place very appropriately and quickly now that we've investigated the body.
What have you learned so far? Have you been able to surmise anything?
Almost
Well,
nothing.
your father appeared to have a very, very malnourished. He has some old scars on his body.
I saw that.
There was an antler found in his throat, and
What?
there was an antler found in his throat.
Why would there be an antler in his throat?
That's just another part of this mystery we're trying to figure out. We really don't know anything yet.
We're working on it. We have a plan to hopefully get some answers very soon. We'll leave you to your day, ma'am. I think.
I'll be waiting. Thank you.
Not a problem. Try to enjoy the rest of your night. Goodbye.
She doesn't reply to that. But the little kids do. As you're heading out, you're getting pelted by snowballs.
All right, I'm gonna shoot one of these assholes.
You more kind. Not the rest of us, because you told their mom that. They're like, you.
No,
did.
all of you are. They don't seem old enough to really know the value of that conversation.
So are they within thunder wave distance?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Next one that hits me is getting a bolt to the face.
I
Magic missile,
also have
three
Wrath
of
of the Storms. They make contact. How close?
We get about 30 feet away. Everyone pauses. We look around. Ready, men? Turn around.
Magic missile.
The rest of them throw
So
snowballs.
yeah,
They look at
you're the
you,
guy.
Yeah.
and you head out.
All right. Yes. All right. So we've got a staff to a fey thing. We've got a book full of weird symbols, which, speaking of which, Eslov, and I'm going to turn to him, remind us where you got those scars, that tattoo of yours?
It's not called tattoos, by the way. They call it skin art.
Do we call it skin art?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was unconscious.
So is that a no on you don't know how, you don't know why, you don't know who?
I assume it was a person that I had met while traversing the Blue Wastes. A certain medicine lady. I'm not quite sure what she was.
Were you aware of her putting the ink to flesh?
I just said I was unconscious.
Right, I said before the unconscious part and after.
I had no idea that she had done it until somebody pointed it out weeks later.
Wow, she's good. How do you know it was her?
She's the only other person I saw, and she was very strange. She used my blood to summon animals. It's a long story.
Oh, okay. So she wasn't just like a medicine woman giving you some salves and stuff. She, okay, got it. All right, that makes her a much more likely candidate for putting weird ink on your skin then.
Yeah.
So one of those symbols. Could we see what it looks like, Scott? I don't know if it's already in the chat.
Have you guys seen the full tattoo yet?
I have it. I mean, I have.
I feel like we have. I mean, but it was like in episode 1 or something.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. Give me 1 second. Oh,
Okay.
can you see that? Oh, I'll put it in the chat too, because you probably can't see that yet.
Oh, I can see it on the Twitch stream, yeah.
All right, and I just put it into the Discord too, for you.
Okay.
So that whole thing is on my back.
Yes.
And from what I remember, it's about like 2 feet long.
Yep. Yeah, it's big.
Which portion of this was on the thing? It was the spearhead.
Yeah, the top that looks like a spearhead point.
Okay.
Scott, how would you feel if I went out and got that tattooed onto my back in real life?
It'd be a little weird.
It'd be very weird.
For me, and probably for you.
Okay.
Lifetime explanation.
So a symbol drawn in a book by a dude who is beholden to a fey creature shows up on the back of a traveler who got his back tattooed in his sleep by an old woman who used blood magic.
Correct.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay.
And the sun
a week
symbol-
ago, I was just taking a cart of people from one city to another.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
and then you were taken by the Ascension and brought back.
Wow.
So here we are.
And the sun symbol was inside the scribed runes found by the elder as well.
Where?
Back in Phelan, when he
Uh-huh.
went into the elder's basement and he had all the runes that he had collected throughout the years. The sun symbol was one of those runes.
Okay. So you have a bunch of strange symbols for things. Well, it suggests to me that at least the spearhead pattern is tied in some way to the Fae. Well, it might have something to do with what happened to you, but that's a problem for a different day. I say we go explore a forest and then get attacked by an animal at night. What do you say?
I agree.
At night, or should we go in the early morning?
Yeah. He looks down to his... Wait, never mind. I thought we were still in the bar for a second.
You're the scout, so I'll follow your lead. But,
Okay. Well, as a scout, I say you never go into the forest at night unless you want to die a painful death.
Why did you just
I
suggest
do not.
Well, as someone who wants to find an answer to this question, I have a different opinion.
Do you think it'll be easier for us to find this creature at night than during the day?
The possibility. How long do we have? How much daylight do we have now?
Maybe an hour before sundown.
In that case, we better leave soon.
And you'll use that to get to the shale wood.
Oh, well, that's dark.
I think it'd be better. There's an old saying, curiosity killed the cat. Well, these woods can kill you, yes? So let's
Satisfaction
keep
revived.
curiosity in check for the evening and go early in the morning. That's when the ladies saw the creature anyways. If we get up early enough, we can get there hopefully before it arrives. Or if it's even in the area.
Well, it looks like I have to wear this armor again for another day.
Oh no. That's such a shame.
Well, it looks
But
fine
no,
on you.
It
Thank
is a
you.
good thing though, because you look dashing in it.
Oh, you're too kind.
We're all gay.
I've been told that I'm too kind. All right, let's. Kian, do you really wish to go now, or do you perhaps think we should wait till the morning?
I'd love to go now. It sounds like a fun challenge.
I mean, that's as good an argument as any, but it's a gut feeling. something tells me we're gonna have a harder time finding this thing out in the daylight. Or I could be wrong, and it's a regular monster, in which case it's got a home somewhere, and it, spends its day doing what beasts do. But
Well,
we're looking for a weird thing, and weird things happen in the forest at night.
Who here can see in the dark?
I have night vision.
Yes, so do I, but I know that neither of you do, so my point is, going into the dark forest, which is already super dangerous, with two gentlemen who cannot see worth a lick without holding a torch saying, "Here we are, come eat us," may not be the best idea. I know you are the scouts, but I really do not wish to die because you're holding a torch to see. My apologies.
I mean, no, you're right. What can I say? I got a feeling. Hey, for what it's worth,
He's got a feeling.
I got a feeling.
That's
What
going
more
to
do you
count
need?
for something.
Yeah.
I got a feeling.
When have I ever been wrong about something?
Never.
Yeah.
Guy in this
He
forest,
never
that's what I
misses.
got.
You've never been wrong. You've just been incorrect.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Let's take a wild guess. Say this fella showed up somewhere around the time everyone else blinked out of existence, which was, twilight, evening. Right? He shows up then, dies at some point in the night. The woman finds him in the morning with the creature standing over him. We could go at dawn. We could camp out at the edge of the forest if we really wanted to, and then wait for early in the morning. But it's also a possibility that, hey, this thing that we're looking for really likes creatures that ascended and came back, which who's got two thumbs and Hal also did that.
Well, I like the idea of staying out there, setting up camp. I don't mind that idea. I think that's a good idea. Instead of us charging into the forest, we're there on the edge, so we can hear things and investigate if we must.
Yeah, that makes
But-
sense as well. Yeah.
We're still
But
young.
that-
We have plot armor.
But that way we're not deep in the forest. That way we're not deep in the forest where things can,
That's
tear us
fair. The
new.
forest itself is a death trap purely on visibility alone. You're right about that. So I think if we get, we may as well go to where he died, right? Scene of the crime.
Yeah.
At the very least, he was on a road, right?
No, he was on the shore of the lake.
On the
not
shore
on,
of the lake.
not
Okay.
on a road.
Okay. Well, we can go somewhere there, investigate, camp out, have decent visibility, given the lake on one side and the forest nearby. And if something weird goes on, well, we've got two strapping young gentlemen with dark vision, so we should be fine.
Yeah, the cleric and the wizard.
I said what I said.
Strapping. One thing we did forget to tell you that we were told earlier was the water was frozen in the morning as well, and not just like frozen over, like the waves from the lake were actually frozen, like it'd been frozen solid immediately. So we may be dealing with something that deals with cold. You would have known that because you were there for it, but that's just something we forgot.
Yeah, no, it's good to know. I mean, listen, what are we gonna do spending a night here? Then going. I mean, I say we head over, camp out roughly near where he died, check out the scene, see if we can find whatever that thing was.
I think it's a good idea. So, let's go.
All right. Let's, yeah.
All right. So you head out to the city walls if you're going to head straight out, and you go through the gate, and you go to the that'd be the south, and you go south, and along Lake Carling, it's not long, maybe an hour out before you start to see this forest rising up, and it's not completely dark yet. It's dusk, but the trees here are just insanely tall. Like, these are the tallest trees that you've seen in your life, and the wood on them from this distance, they just look like blackness in the as you're getting closer. And he was apparently found somewhere right around here, on the edge of the lake, and you can see the lake is frozen. and the lake is frozen in the area with waves with the waves frozen themselves rather than a smoothness that you normally get with ice and snow. Now there's snow build up over a lot of it too, but you can still see the mounds building up that normally wouldn't be there on ice.
Yep, we lost you.
Right, I forgot it was super cold.
Well, we have our blankets and our warm.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
did get traveling gear, so we should.
And I prefer the cold.
Of course you do.
I mean, it never bothered you anyway.
Oh no.
Slav breaks out in song.
Nice.
All right.
We turn this into a musical.
He sings Coldplay.
Oh, no, that's bad. You take that one back.
Too far.
All right, Nickelback.
Even worse.
Okay, so
Look
Yeah,
at
we'll-
this photograph.
yeah, we'll see. Try and find roughly where this guy,
Well, when you see that area that's cold, the lake is not frozen everywhere like this. It's frozen along the edge, maybe 5 or 10 feet out from the edge. But in this one area, it's a big area that's cold, that's frozen up. And that
Well,
makes you
Hop,
think
you see
that's
that?
it.
In the ice, I think there might be a fish with arms. Look closely. I think you
Oh.
might see it there.
I'll take
I
a look
see it
through the
too.
ice.
And the forest, like you can hear the change as the sun slowly goes down, the sound of the birds and the animals, it changes from day to night creatures. You hear not roars, but like the sound of bigger animals, moans like bear sounds, and you hear birds, but different birds, things like that, and a lot of crickets start, like a cacophony of crickets and insects, night insects.
around the place where things are frozen, is there sign of, a body that was left in the dirt or like, hoof prints, footprints, disturbance?
Well, there's about 2 feet of snow. You'd have to move snow to
Okay.
even see any of that. But I mean, you have all night, I guess. So when you do remove the snow, and you can kind of do it in that one area, you kind of can see the area. There are deep in some of the snow. There are what look like some kind of footprints or something like that.
Or general disturbance, recent?
Yeah.
Okay, so something made this thing go frozen. Either it was an ice monster of some kind, or this guy returned, and the very force of that froze this place over. Although I guess it will be unlikely that he returned and immediately got gored by something, so
Yeah.
maybe not.
No, but there are footprints that come here. There's a small set of footprints and a large set of footprints, and the large
In the
set
snow?
also goes away. No, because you cleared the snow to see if there was something in the mud.
Vestron, do you want to do another sweep of that detect magic? See if anything comes up. I don't know if sound holes pop up on the old.
Ooh.
Tectotron.
Yeah, I wanted to say radar, but that really doesn't work here.
No.
With it, by the way, would I know if those
Just
would
make up a word.
Would the sound holes pop up on that?
No.
No, they don't normally. I could do that as well, but afterwards, if we're going to set up camp here, I would like to create an area around the camp to warn us if anything trespasses into our area.
Yep, sounds good. Meanwhile, I'll make a fire, do all the regular camp stuff, set up what we need to make this livable.
Okay.
So for the first few minutes, I'll do the
Yeah, the ritual.
the detect magic ritual to see if there's anything of magical note around here.
And there's nothing that you already don't know about.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I detect nothing new of significance. I'm going to begin setting up an alarm spell to give us some extra warning if anything breaches our area of our camp.
I want to see that staff.
you'll see me basically lay that out there. I've been holding the staff this whole time because I'm like, the staff, I know how to use this. So
It's a stick. You can use a stick.
yeah, but yeah, I'll hand you the staff.
I'm just curious about it. I'll go over to the lake edge, and I'm just curious. I don't know who the staff is to. I don't know what it's for. And I'll just I'll hold it and look over and say, all right, listen. I don't know if it can, this still connects to whatever you are, but if you're one of the Fae, and this guy meant something to you, we could really use a hand on this. So, if you wanted to show up and help us out, that'd be lovely. If not, that's all right. I'll just shove the staff kind of into the ice, I guess. A little bit, or just into the snow.
And you don't get any kind of reaction.
Well, typical. All right. Do we hear? Sorry, go ahead.
You do start to hear the sounds of hooves in the distance, like something jumping through some of the brush. And
I'd like to ready my axe.
And some deer run past a little away from you, and they stop and they turn and look at you, because you have I assume you have a fire or something.
Yep,
you have a fire.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. And then they take off again, and there's 8 or 10 of them.
At this time, do I have had enough time to put out the wire and cast the alarm ritual?
You can, yeah. Yeah, it's later in the evening as you're waiting. The sounds are, you're on the edge of the forest, and you're getting very different sounds from inside and from outside. Like, inside is all these different kinds of insects than what you get out here. And the forest it's particularly dark, and it's very dense. Like some forests, Kian, walking is just, kind of meander a little between trees. This feels like it's dense enough that it might be like climbing over roots to get through places. But the trees are just massive in some places. Like redwood size, just huge. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And you wait through the night, and there's no encounters through the night, nothing that disturbs, but it's hard to sleep comfortably this close to it. I mean, I'm assuming you're keeping watches and stuff, but you get to early morning, and you can hear the sounds changing a little bit, and then the light starts coming through, and then the trees, you realize as the light comes up that the trees are almost black. They're almost like, they're not black, they're more like a dark gray, like, if you know stone, like a shale. That's why it's called a shale wood, because of the color of the trees. And then the greenery on them, they're evergreen, so even now they're still green. But the green itself is not like the kind of bright greens you see on most trees. It's a dull, deep green gray. And there are icicles hanging from them, and and like, for instance, you couldn't get a horse through there. For instance, there's no way you could get a horse through.
Well,
We tried.
I suppose we could find a vine in there. What do you say we go hunting?
It's been a while.
And this is in the
I
morning.
thought just perks up.
This is in the morning now, yes?
I prefer fishing,
Yes.
but
It's
hunting.
the sun is just coming up.
And just for sake of this, during the night, I would have gone through my spell book and
Okay.
memorize some new spells.
Okay.
I would have looked at the stars.
Oh.
So.
I got a book of my own. I just leaf through it.
Okay.
Do I see anything
Healthy
in particular?
amount of praying. Very healthy amount of praying.
And
Okay.
after I do that, I will look through the Warlock book as well if we have it, just to see if there's anything else of note, anything in his crazy ramblings or symbols that we should take note of, since we have time to further look through it. And I only need 4 hours of rest, so.
Yeah. You don't see anything new in it that you hadn't seen before, but it is scribbles all through it, and there's just tremendous amounts to go through if you really want to go through it, very carefully.
I'll go through as much as I can during the 4 hours.
Okay.
And if I see any symbols like the swirl or anything else related to the tattoo or anything else we might have seen, I'll make like a little note of like what page I found it on, so I can.
Yeah, when I say there's symbols in there, it's not like he just drew symbols. It would be like he scribbled symbols amongst other scribblings and writings, and that's what I mean. It's very hard to just make it through a page if you're trying to look at every little thing. You can do it, but it takes time to go through the ramblings of a madman.
Yeah.
Do I see anything particular in the constellations tonight?
Well,
What's
you
the
do
weather
notice
gonna be like tomorrow?
you start to notice that some stars move and other stars don't. And that is, I mean, you were told that happens, but it's easier to tell when you look up every night and you can see they're in different places. And you're starting to recognize which ones might be.
Is there space in the book to take notes? I was given a scroll, wasn't I?
But yeah, it's a scroll. It's not a book.
Yeah, right. Never mind.
And there's not really space in there to write many notes. You could write really tiny, but I'm not sure you can write tiny.
No, his hands are too fat.
Well, right.
He's got like fingers the size of bratwursts.
I just don't know how fine you write.
Big old barbarian, writing all delicate.
I write like this.
Writing
X.
in cursive.
He's better with the quill than he is with his axe. He's more
like calligraphy.
The axe.
hobby.
Yeah.
All right.
So you start.
Keen.
And the forests, as you start to head toward it, it does have a sort of beauty to it that is old. And as you head in, one thing that strikes you is that a lot of the bark on trees moves. Like the bark
can see it
moves. Yeah, at first you check your eyes because it doesn't seem right, but then you realize the bark in a lot of places covered by butterflies of some kind.
Oh.
And they're just starting to move as the evening.
In the snow?
Yep, in the snow.
I'd like to look at them. Are they butterflies that I've seen before?
Nope. They are gray with spots of red and yellow and brown. They're pretty, but they do look very much like they would blend into the wood here.
Right. Interesting.
And you go in, and as you
Take
get
one of my
near
finger.
some of the trees, some of them will flutter off.
I'll try and get one on my finger.
You can get one on your finger. You can kind of gently nudge one on, and it'll go on if it's not ready to fly.
I'll just look at it for a while and then put it back on the tree if you can.
Okay.
Are you done looking at that? Can we continue our search for the murderer of Meadow?
And
Well, it doesn't sound that impressive when you put it that way.
And Kian, one thing that you don't like about this forest, this particular forest, unlike some other forests, is it doesn't take very many feet in before it starts to feel like night anyway, from the density of the trees.
Well, that's unfortunate.
There's almost no light coming in, streaming through the tops of the trees.
Anyone got light?
Well, yeah.
I don't suppose your magic. I've heard of these light-based spells that one can perform. What do you got? Give me something.
I've never learned light spells. Didn't really need one, being who I am.
Doesn't Meadow have a light spell?
I have a tinderbox.
I have the fire bolts, but I don't want to set the forest on fire.
I have to look and see if.
Oh yeah, let's see your character sheet.
Yeah. Let's see.
I have some candles we can light. You can hold them. I don't know how much light they'll give off.
No, of course he doesn't have light. Ugh.
She does not.
Okay. No, I mean I've got torches if need be. Just not ideal.
Probably lanterns, not torches.
Lantern. Probably.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you might have torches too, but the
Yeah,
oil,
yeah.
like whale oil, is so
That's true.
accessible that it's all over the island.
Alright, I'll get a lantern.
Okay.
I would appreciate if someone else held this, if only because of the whole. Well, I guess a crossbow may not do much good, but I don't know. Someone got a free hand?
Yeah, I can carry it for you.
Thanks, buddy.
Not a problem.
Plus, it just reflects off the armor of yours, so it really just expands out even that much further.
It is very shiny, and you continue out with the lantern. I mean, the lanterns are controllable. You can control the light to the direction you want, or you can just open them up wide and just get all the way around.
I think open it up so we can kind of see what's around us is probably the better idea.
Yeah, and as you're walking, you kind of not only do you have to meander through these trees, but there are a lot of places where the roots just go from tree to tree and reach over each other, and you have to climb over these reaching roots that they're ancient. These trees are ancient, and you go in for quite a while, and eventually you see some light up ahead of you. It doesn't look like a fire, it's more like a blue light.
Is this similar to the light that I saw on the road not too long ago?
No.
No.
It looks... Kian, make me a perception check.
Next over here. $15.
The light is kind of moving, but not like fire, but more like maybe water. Maybe it's water that has light in it or something.
Well, that seems unreasonable. I'm gonna pull out a bolt, put it on my crossbow.
It's water. Get it.
Yeah, glowing water moving in the middle of the forest. That sounds about right. Sure.
Shoot it. Shoot the water.
I see Kian pull out his crossbow bolt and load it, and I immediately go, oh no, we might be getting into trouble. Mage armor.
Great axe.
And you can all start seeing that there's this blue glow up ahead of you, and as you move closer, it gets wider as trees come out of the front of you. You realize it looks like there's maybe a pond in a clearing that has a blue glow in spots all through it.
It's a fish. It's a fish with arms. It's holding a lantern.
All right. I'll check this out.
Finally time to fight one of these fuckers.
All right. We gotta move a little bit on the careful side here. But I need that light to see anything. Or I suppose the water can shed enough light on its own. Stay back a little bit and I'll check this out.
No problem there.
I'm coming with you.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, before you go, put my hand on your shoulder and say, "Don't worry, Akor is with you," and give you a little guidance.
Thanks. All right.
And tap you as well.
You feel
Don't
better
worry.
about it.
I'm with you back here.
Oh man. Like the Eslov, we are fucked. Eslov's like, I'm gonna go with you. I raise a finger to object, turn to him, look at him.
He's not standing there anymore. He's already walking.
And as you start to break the clearing, something darts across, and you realize they're deer that run across in front of you.
Take a swing. I'll take a wild swing.
Couple of them.
Yeah, you ever tasted veal?
They're not that close. I mean,
He doesn't see.
you can hit them
He's
with a
just
crossbow.
startled by them.
Right, they just startle you as they dart across.
Morkan, as I see him swing at the deer that's nowhere near him, I turn to you and I whisper, "We'll never see them again."
I narrowly miss.
See, you remember the
Yeah.
way out of here.
Back that way?
Maybe we should not let them get too far lost.
No,
And-
we'll stay
and
at a
when-
distance and follow. Yeah.
And when the deer cut across, butterflies flutter all from the ground floor and from the trees, just almost like smoke made of butterflies. And they leave. They kind of just fly up into the trees, and a moment later, they're all gone, and the water is still there, and the clearing is quiet again.
All right. Let's check out the edge of this water, see if there's anything, what is causing this glow?
There seem to be spots of light under the water, and there seem to be butterflies on the water.
Can I, what are the spots of light? What can I see of the spots of light?
They look almost like they're moving under the water, like what an anemone kind of movement, like that kind of movement.
Sure. Are they moving or are they just kind of going back and forth,
They're
like
just going
waving?
back and forth, like with movement of water.
Okay.
But they create like a blue glow to the water. And
Okay. I want to, how far in is the nearest patch of this light?
maybe a foot in.
Hey, Eslov,
Yes.
you want to grab a handful of whatever's making that light?
And Eslov, you see there's one butterfly that is different. You notice there's one that's yellow, and the other ones are all gray, and this one's not dull like that. And it's just sort of sitting on a wave.
Did he
Reach
manage
out
to
now.
grab the thing?
What?
Did he manage to grab one of whatever's causing the light?
It's stuck.
You're reaching to grab one, like the anemone kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right,
It looks like an anemone. Anemone.
kind of like that. Just sort or to you, it probably looks like a plant, like a chunky leaf plant that's sort of.
Look at this. I'll like.
Plants
I'll
have never
touch it.
betrayed me
I'll
before.
stick my axe in and I'll touch it with my axe.
It looks like an enemy, but it's about to be an enemy.
and nothing happens to your axe. It doesn't stop glowing. It doesn't. It kind of, moves with it. It can't do anything about your axe anyway.
Reach in and I'll poke it. I'm not gonna grab it, but I'll poke it.
With what? Your finger?
My finger.
Oh, okay. Can you make me a con save, please?
There it is.
I gave guidance to the wrong person.
Well, I'm good at con. I am a
You are.
barbarian, so that's gonna be a 18.
And you get this horrible sting, and you take a point of damage. But the sting is like a fire went through your hand, and you can feel for a moment like a numbness to your hand that it even makes it hard to close your hand for more than a moment. Kind of like having a broken hand in a cast.
Oh, what would that be like?
I wouldn't know.
Like it's hard.
Getting
You
kind of
can't-
close to home there, Scott.
You can't quite pull your hand open, and then it just sort of fades away a moment later.
What are you doing to me? What are you calling me out for? Don't touch this.
Oh, I wasn't planning on it. Why would you touch it?
Why wouldn't I?
That's fair. Okay, I don't see anything aside from the regular deer here.
There's a butterfly there.
There's butterflies everywhere.
That one's different.
Well,
Would you say it looked like?
It was yellow with some. It's brighter. The other ones were very dull. This one's bright, more yellow. The other ones are mostly gray with spots of color. This one's bright yellow with spots of reds and a little bit of black.
Did you say it was on the water?
Yeah, it's floating on the water, like on the wave. It's sort of like
I want to reach out and I want to take it.
okay.
make another con save.
Make me an intelligence check.
Check. Okay. I thought you
Yeah,
were gonna
just a
make
check.
an
Not a
intelligence
save.
check.
The barbarian intelligence check.
It's a whole 4.
And it like flies away and you miss it. Kian, make me a perception check.
24.
The butterfly flew away under the water.
As in, it just
It
dipped
did-
under?
It after he grabbed it, you realized it's not on the surface of the water. It's on the underside surface of the water.
Okay, well, that seems improbable. I'll call back to Vesper and Morcon. Hey, we haven't died yet if you want to check it out. Although, don't touch whatever's glowing under the water. I want to try and take my kukri, and I want to try and hack away a bit of the blue stuff.
Okay. And that's pretty good for actually kind of digging in there. And
Yeah.
it's some kind of a plant
Yeah.
that you think. And once you cut it out from the mud, it kind of just sort of tumbles in the soil at the bottom of the water.
Well, I'll drag it out with the tip of my blade, just in case it's still got whatever it did to Eslov.
It's
And
kind
does
of
it
big. It's not little.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, okay.
but you can get it. It's just not as small
Okay,
as.
I was imagining like a hand, like, so it's okay.
It's
Should I
more
touch
like
it
a
again to
coconut
make sure it's
size.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I do it.
Jesus.
See how it tastes.
And can you make me a con save, please?
21.
And you get stung. You take a point of damage, and your hand
Yep.
tightens up again.
It's
Does it look-
still very much alive.
Does this look anything like the vine that this fellow was holding?
No.
Okay. All right, so the butterfly flew away under the water. Do the other butterflies have regular reflections as they stand on the water surface?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if I can get this thing in a bag. Without
Do you have a
hurting
bag?
myself. I assume so. I
Yeah, I
have to
think that's
carry
an-
stuff.
I have a pouch.
Okay.
I'm sure this will prove useful later.
Who's
Forget
putting
about
it
it until like 3 weeks from now, and then it's just dead and rotten in your pack.
And you see that there are some deer that are starting to enter the clearing again,
Shh. Nobody say anything.
but they're not running through. They're just sort of walking at a
Have they
normal
noticed
pace.
us?
After a week, get more
Yeah, but
fun
they're on the other end of the clearing, like at a distance, and they see you. And there's some antlers in there that have a broken tip.
Are we all seeing that?
Yeah, you see. I mean, you see the deer. They come through. They're on the other side of the pond, but they're on opposite across.
Right. We all noticed the broken antler.
Yeah, it's noticeable.
Does it look like the one that we have? Does it look like it would match the kind of break?
I think we
Maybe.
have found a suspect.
Yeah, it's kind of back behind
put
some
him
of the
down.
other deer. There's
You
deer.
Get over here.
It doesn't look like it's the front deer. It looks like maybe it's on one of the deer in the back because there's several that are there.
That might be a good idea.
You in the back, get up here.
Yeah. Deer number 4, can you please step forward?
And the deer sort of keep walking, and the antlers, kind of keep walking towards the edge of the trees.
Well, I could shoot one if we'd like.
Probably shoot the one with the broken antler.
With the broken antler? Yeah, I agree. Any objections?
Well, that one's behind the other ones. You can just kind of see the antlers sticking up.
Ah.
Maybe you have to reposition yourself.
Well, I will attempt to approach maybe and see if they don't get spooked.
Okay. So you go around the pond and try not to make them flee. And you get over a little closer, and the deer starts to get nervous as you close in. And then a moment later they dart out. And they leave behind some other humanoid creature with this face of a deer skull almost, and horns that come out like deer antlers, but one is broken off. And then you hear this scream that is just
No way!
and it starts coming at you. It just starts charging at you, and it's
Okay.
fast.
Well, I'll shoot the fuck out of it then.
Roll.
Found
Initiative,
it.
please.
Oh my god.
I think we
You
found a
have no
lead, guys.
19 initiative.
17.
1.
Gonna be a 9.
You don't have any dex bonus?
I have no dex bonus.
Straight one.
Rolled a nat 1. If I'm going to
Ask
roll a
him
nat
and ye
1,
shall
it's a good
receive,
time
I
to do it.
guess.
What is
Well, as a cleric, you don't mind being last because then you can heal who
No.
needs it.
Eslav,
I got to do
what was
more
yours?
reaction anyway.
9. I got a
9.
whole 9.
And Vesrin?
19.
Just so we're clear, Scott, this is a Wendigo, right?
It is a Wendigo.
Oh my god!
Uh-oh.
These are my favorite. I love these things so much.
We didn't even have to go to the north.
Oh, you're in the
I had a feeling. The thing is, I had a feeling that this was going to be the culprit.
You're in the
I
north.
swear.
You're just not in the North Pole.
I'm very excited right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes one of us.
I can't
Does,
wait for this thing to kill us.
Lorcott know anything about Wendigos?
I imagine. Would I?
I do not.
Probably not.
Yeah, it's like when...
No, I don't think you would. You wouldn't have had the opportunity to experience anything with it or read anything about them.
Okay.
It's like when the bus like moves in the movies and behind it suddenly there's the guy.
Yes.
Oh no.
All right. So, Vesrin, you go first. How odd.
Okay. Bezrin, who was just invited to come walking up, and as he's seen the deer and to
Right.
get closer to it, I'm like, oh shit! As I see that thing charging towards Kian, right? Is it charging towards Kian?
Yes.
Yes. I'm like, God, I gotta save this fool again. And I will start off by throwing a firebolt.
This is
at
so
it.
cool. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
keep it simple. The first turn, I'm just gonna throw a firebolt.
Yeah, don't feel the need to splurge on my account.
I gotta test the waters for this thing. Yeah, I don't know what I'm dealing with here. Don't throw all my level 1 spells at it right off the bat. Alright.
Yeah, gotta be ready for when the other two show up.
Does a 14 hit?
A 14 does not hit.
Ooh, got
So,
that natural armor.
So I see that thing, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go into cast and I throw the fireball and just right past the damn thing.
And it's surprisingly fast. And it runs on sort of... It could have made the footprints look like footprints if it was this, but they're really just big, wide hooves that could look almost like feet. All right. 18.
This is so cool.
Oh no.
Vesrin. So, I'm sorry, not Vesrin. I mean, Kian. It's coming right at you. And when it gets to you, it makes... What's your AC?
My AC is 15.
15. Okay. So it gets to you and it strikes and hits you.
As I'm raising up the crossbow as fast as I can, but it somehow
Yeah.
beats my speed anyway.
Well, it wasn't actually surprised.
No, I know. I'm sorry. That's just flavor wise. It beat me on initiative, but
Yeah.
I'm
It
quick
wasn't-
drawing, but it's even quicker.
Yeah. You take 7 points of damage.
Okay.
And can you make me a strength saving throw?
It's gonna be
against a
9.
13. Okay. And you're knocked back prone. And you realize that it's right in front of everybody. And can I have everybody make a charisma save, please?
More kind of.
Thing is, I think. Did you get the stat block online? There's a good chance that I've used it before. If you have, I just lost it, guys.
Hey, no metagaming.
I'm not metagaming. I'm just saying.
Charisma save, right? You said charisma save or charisma
Yes.
check? Okay, charisma save.
12.
16.
It's gonna be a 17 from me.
3.
Appropriately, you're scared.
Oh wow, really?
Yes.
Weird.
And you feel like you should probably get away from it.
Does he still have guidance?
Oh, you're right.
That's
he
on
does.
ability. That's on ability checks.
Oh, that's right.
It's not, but
Also, would
Okay.
not help my 3.
no.
No, we're
And-
not.
But Kian, it's your turn, your initiative.
Okay, I am frightened. I can assume.
Yes.
All right. So I can't. Attack rolls are made with disadvantage,
And it's
I can't
over
get any
you. Like,
well, I
knock
can't
you
get any
prone.
closer to it. Okay. I'm at disadvantage anyway. I'm gonna pull my short sword out and try and slash at it desperately. At disadvantage, the first roll is a natural 1, so I'm not gonna roll again.
And you feel like you
Get
should probably
worse.
back away too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna use my. How far, so what is their relative positioning here? I mean, obviously it's in front of me. So.
Right. And it knocked you prone.
Yeah.
And it knocked you hard. You went
Yeah.
back
Yeah, yeah.
10 feet.
We're all second level now, right?
Oh, so it's not in front of me.
Yes,
Right.
we are.
It's a good
We are
10 feet
second
away
level.
now. And Eslov is right next to you now,
Oh, good.
10 feet away from it. And the other two are about 30 or so feet away.
Okay, I'm gonna use the rest of my movement to get half my movement to get up, and I will bonus action dash backwards and reload my crossbow from a safe distance. Yeah. Is there any? Yeah. That's all I got.
Yep. Eslov.
I will take a couple steps forward and throw
This-
my axe. Well, not throw it, but I'll bring down my axe onto it. That's going to be a 24 to hit.
Oh,
Gonna,
that'll hit.
I'm gonna assume that hits. Yeah.
Yeah, that hits.
It's gonna be 12 damage from the axe.
Okay.
You know what? Never mind. I forgot about relentless attack, or whatever it's called.
Reckless, I think.
Reckless attack.
Is there something I can do to break the save?
From the fear?
Yeah. Yeah, break the fear.
Yeah, it. Once you're back far enough away, you'll recover.
Okay. I'll get as far away as is necessary.
Yeah. and we're down to Morkant.
I'm going to extend my hand and begin to pray and bite my inner lip till a drop of blood comes in and cast Bane.
You're gonna talk to it. Come on now. Can't we just talk and maybe?
Wait, that's your specialty, talking to it.
We just have some questions. Did your horn happen to get dislodged in somebody's
Calm
throat?
down, man. Calm down.
We were trying to return it to you. Here you go.
That was my first thought. Now, maybe Bane first, talk next round.
There you go.
So DC 14
Yeah.
Charisma save.
It made it.
Oh.
Monsters always make the saves. Never make them make a save.
They make saves.
Unless you're like my warlock who has a DC of 20.
And while I'm doing this, I'm going to move my full movement speed to try and get closer to it, and
Okay.
that'll be my turn.
You get closer. as you're running, you realize that butterflies start fluttering all over the area, and they start filling the area with butterflies as you charge at it. And we are back to the top with Vesrin.
Can I still see the creature?
Yes, you can, but there's a little bit of obscurity going on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Am I taller than this creature?
No.
Ooh, yeah, of course not.
I'm going to use the same obscurity to take cover behind a tree, so that way I have some kind of cover from this thing. And then I will turn around and I will go into casting. This is my big baddie right now.
Chromatic Orb.
Chromatic Orb.
I knew it. Love that spell.
I think I will send at it. I don't want to set the forest on fire. So
There's
hit
snow.
I don't want to hit it with cold because I don't know if this thing's related to the cold or not. I'm going to hit it with lightning or acid, guys.
Lightning.
I'll hit it with a lightning orb. So I will throw lightning at it. Let's see if
Chromatic Orb is one of my favorite spells.
16, 17, 18.
Okay.
Oh, it's easily 20, 22.
That hits.
Yeah.
And does lightning.
Lightning damage. I don't know if it resistance to it or not, but
It does not, actually.
all right. That'll be 18 points of lightning damage.
Oh my goodness.
I rolled an 8, a 6, and a 4. So I'll take it. And that's. I'm not really gonna. I'm saving my last one for a shield.
Fair enough. I don't think it's ever going to get to you, though.
Oh, you know what though? I forgot my ward. I do have temporary hit points. When I cast Mage Armor on myself, it's a first level spell. I do have some temporary hit points for my ward ability.
Okay, nice.
So
That could be beneficial. Can you make me a perception check, please?
I will. Let's see here. I will attempt one anyways. 10, 11, 12, 13. I rolled a 10 plus 3, it's 13.
And you see Kian running towards you. All right.
The monster's back that way.
No, oh, I know.
Eslav.
Why do you think I'm going this way?
It rises up to come at you, and it does. And as it swings you back just enough that it misses with its attack, and after it attacks, every time it kind of tries to get bigger in front of everyone, and it actually feels like it got bigger, which is bizarre. Kian.
Okay. I'm no longer frightened by it, correct?
Yep, you are far
Okay.
enough back.
I will swing around, take the little hook thing that I've got, pull the lever back, reload, raise the sights, and fire again.
Roll.
That's going to be a 12 to hit. Oof. Not my day.
Yeah, that won't hit. And Eslav, a bolt flies past you as this thing is
Hits me in the
rising
back of
up.
the head, I die.
Yeah, is there a place to hide
No.
nearby? Are there like cover?
Trees.
Trees.
All
All right,
over the place.
I'm gonna duck over to a tree and take the hide action as a bonus action.
Okay. And Eslav.
I'm going to use Reckless Attack to give myself advantage on this attack.
Okay.
However, next turn, it will have advantage against an attack against me.
Yeah.
Going to be the same thing I got last time. So that's a hit.
Yep.
16. $16 damage, by the way.
Yeah. And it backs away for a moment, but it doesn't look like it's fleeing. It just your axe found it and it backed away just for a moment to prepare. Morkant.
So in that moment, while he's preparing, I want to move to a position where I'm not going to hit Esklov and there's a 15-foot cube in front of me that includes him.
Okay, so you kind of have to flank. You have to go to a flank to do it, which
So
you can do.
I'll go to a flank and I'll cast Thunder Wave.
Is Meadow just not a part of this fight?
Oh, her spells would not be useful here.
Okay.
Holding a camp.
She's
What is she doing right now?
well. Let me look. She will have. She should participate.
Poor Meadow. Poor Jasmine.
Actually, I had forgotten she was there.
Hopefully she's at least, maybe she's watching right now. Hi, Jasmine, if you're watching.
We miss you, Jazz. Feel better.
It's really awkward if she's not watching. We just
All right, Morkan, you can get and do your Thunder Wave.
All right. So it's a con save.
Yep. And it is. Oh, it's missed.
All right, and
almost critically. Weird.
and I'm going to use my Channel Divinity to get maximum damage on it.
ooh.
So it and any butterflies that are in that area take
No.
16
Oh.
take 16 thunder damage or knocked back 10 feet.
Hey, that does not let me have an attack of opportunity, right? Since it's
No.
forced movement.
No. And it also makes a loud noise that can be heard for 300 feet.
After
So
having
big.
that be a house rule in my games for so long, I forget that it's not a real rule.
It falls back, and the wave hits it hard enough that it blows it back against trees, and butterflies just blow out like leaves blown off a tree.
Not
with
the
one of those blows.
butterflies.
And they're just all they're just
no.
falling all over the place in the area.
Was it worth
and
it,
then-
Morkan?
With my hand still out, I'll be like, if you can talk, I would like to talk rather than do this. And that'll be my turn.
I love how Morkant, the guy who wants to have conversations, just murdered a slew of butterflies. What kind of cleric are you?
I'm worried about them, to be honest. I don't trust anything in the forest.
They could even be deceiving you. They could be moths.
Oh, those need to die. They ruined my clothes. You know, can't have that.
Back up to the top, Vestrin.
All right. From my cover, I will attempt to fire another firebolt. Hit it with something big. Now I must go back to my cantrips. And that is another miss. I rolled a natural 6 plus 6 is 12. So.
And it leaps up and darts towards the forest. If anyone has wants to take an opportunity attack of any kind, they can before it hits the forest edge.
I'll
I
shoot
will,
another
if I
firebolt
can.
at it. But let's go
Can
down the line first, right?
I mean, I'm not in range.
Yeah.
But I'm not melee.
Yeah,
of
the
it.
next one
Can
down
I-
is Kian, who doesn't have a bolt loaded at the moment.
Can I run forward and hit it?
How fast can you run?
30 feet.
You can swing at it, but you won't. But you can dash. You can try but I don't think you can get there fast enough because it's faster than you.
Of course, yeah. I mean, in the amount of time that it got blown back, though, I would have been able to move forward towards it, though.
Yeah, you could have because you weren't in the blast. Yeah, all right. I'll let you move to it.
Great, it's gonna be an 18 to hit.
That'll hit. And you hear Kian yell to you, "What are you doing?"
6 damage is what I'm doing.
The momentary pause. What?
Yeah, before he swings, he looks back, and then
You don't see me.
Yeah, you get it with the tip of your axe before it hits the forest. And once it hits the forest and hits the darkness, it is totally in dark. It is just like a blackness in the area.
I'll saunter back towards the party.
What the hell was that thing?
Have I ever seen or heard of those?
No. And then you hear a rumble.
Coming towards us?
Nearby-ish.
I'll ready the axe.
Perhaps we should leave. Perhaps Morkant's spell has brought the attention of other things.
No, we should stand our ground.
Well, you stand it over there, and I will be behind the tree, ready to go the other way.
Oh yeah, I'm already hiding.
And then you
Is
see a
it clear what direction it's coming from?
not from the direction that the thing left, but not from the direction where you were coming from. And you feel the creaking of wood.
Perhaps we should leave.
Oh, now he wants to leave.
When it's that much bigger than me, I get a little nervous.
But when you walk, do you make that kind of noise? I don't hear that when you step.
Not yet, you don't.
Let's go.
Yes, I think we should leave.
I mean, yeah, we can. Yeah, I'm in the forest already. Like I'm hiding behind a tree.
And you start heading out together, collect each other. And you hear every now and then
I'm kind of curious what it is. Like I'll hide and stay there if we want to watch and see what the hell's going on.
I'll see. I'll wait and see.
and then in the clearing, you see a tree plant itself from above.
Oh. Interesting.
And this is where we'll break.
Fair enough.
God.
All right. Well, I suck.
I don't.
No, you don't. By the way,
I
Very
hit
scary moment.
with my firebolts, but I hit with the chromatic orb, and that's what really mattered.
and Roskars, thanks for the follow. It was great to have you join us tonight, and everyone else that's in the chat.
I shout out my friends.
Shout out your friends.
Thank you, Spencer.
All you wonderful people, thank you.
Thank you, Oscar.
Everybody watching is my friend, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
We're
watching.
all
Also-
friends.
Alrighty. I need to roll out real quick. I don't know if we're doing more.
Yeah, no.
All right.
We're done for the evening. We'll see you next Saturday. The Saturday after that, no game. It's Halloween. You need to go do Halloween stuff and celebrate All Hallows Eve. We need to bring all the evil back into the world for a night.
Yes.
It's only fair.
Yes.
They get one night.
Because it's been so not present for the
What are
last.
you talking about?
It's been like
2020
Halloween
has
all
been-
year.
month.
Hey, no.
The one thing we need is more evil.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
we haven't
My
had the
kids get to
fun
enjoy
evil.
every
We
day.
just had pure evil.
All right.
Again, what are you guys talking about? My kids get to enjoy every day, so.
Thank you, everybody. It was really great having you. Have a good night. We'll see you next Saturday.
Thank you.
Ken,
What a great stream.
you